I'm here with DJ Zulo, who I can't wait to get his impressions after what we just witnessed. But before I do that, I have to interrupt our regularly scheduled program because the vast majority of the people that are tuning in right now, I would imagine, are coming for a basketball post game. We're not doing a post game for a basketball game. We're doing a post game for a boxing match. And my God, DJ, we come from the same place. We remember the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
If you would have told me throughout most of the last 20 years that there would be a day and a game where I would watch a brand of basketball that would have any mantle you want to put any 90s game on, any Knicks Heat game, any Knicks Pacers game, any Knicks Bulls game, and there would be a game that would come along in the year of our Lord 2024 that would make those other games look at it and be like, oh shit, we got to share space with that now, because that was unlike anything I've ever seen before. And I have to use the boxing analogy, because how else do you take a team like that with the talent that the Sixers have, and we'll talk about that talent and how the Knicks wore it down and how they game planned against it, but without just body blow after body blow after body blow, and eventually that thing got down to the 13th, the 14th, the 15th round, and they were looking for the white towel to be thrown in. They were looking for it. Unfortunately, it never came. They had to play this one out to the end. And my Lord, the effort from this team. And yet, and I'm going to say one more thing, and I'm going to throw it to you. I don't know how to talk about this game, Deej, because, yes, this is the most special team in some ways. I'm starting to think crazy thoughts. I don't this team is special, and I don't know where it ranks or whatever. You could watch basketball for a long time and never see like this. I don't know that I've ever seen a team like this, and it is a team. It is a capital T team, and yet there was an individual performance at the heart of this game that is also unlike anything we've ever seen, and they both came in the same game on the same court, and they needed both of them to emerge with this win. I am frankly stunned, and I'm just in a little bit of shock because I don't know how to reconcile everything that we just witnessed other than to say, oh my God, this fucking team.
I'm glad you mentioned the 90s, because I kept thinking about those teams, those games, and I don't remember those teams just impacting me the same way. I know it's the first round. I know that in my head round. I should be.
This isn't the first. It's the first round. This ain't a first. This is not a first round.
It hasn't felt like it from the jump in this series. I've never felt this way about a group of players led by their superstar, and he's a goddamn superstar.
Capital S, capital U, capital
Christ's sake.
P. Yeah.
They start the game. They know right before the game that Mitch is not going to play. There was some thought that he was going to give it a go. He's not able to make it. Bojan Bogdanovic, seconds into entering the game, he's out. Precious Achiuwa enters the game because Hartenstein got a bunch of fouls in that third quarter. And my God, his defensive performance from the moment he entered that game is what is the stuff of legends. It was an incredible defensive performance that is a complete microcosm of what this team is made of, what this team believes in. Next man up. We have enough to win. They are never shook. They don't give an inch. And it starts with the guy at the head of it, Jalen Brunson, and it trickles down through every one of those guys. OG Anunoby took the Embiid assignment and said, I'm going to beat this man with a metal bat for every second that I'm guarding him, and I'm going to make him, by the end of that game, pull up for a layup because he doesn't have enough energy to dunk that ball. And believe me, that was because Embiid didn't sit in the second half, and the other is Anunoby wouldn't give him a second to breathe. To me, that defensive performance in that fourth quarter is one of the greatest performances by a team on that end I've ever seen. And I've seen greatness on that end since I started watching this team play. It was incredible. The Sixers scored with 5 minutes and 4 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter and did not make another field goal after that. I'm so go ahead.
I've talked about it on these post games. I think you've kind of, I don't know where you are, if you want to, we don't have to sit here and do a ranking, but like other than Jokic and Murray, there is a very good argument that this two-man game is the most difficult two-man game to contain in the NBA right now. And it is a two-man game, again, year of our Lord 2024, when the offensive rules have been adjusted. Now, I understand they changed a lot of the foul drawing rules, except those changes don't seem to apply to one guy, and it's the guy that we're playing against in this series. So explain to me, I'm literally asking you, I'm not saying this is not me asking a
rhetorical
question. I can't use words right now. This is not a rhetorical question.
All right.
Explain to me how an unguardable two-man combination can go the last 5+ minutes of a home playoff game without scoring a field goal. By the way, with a third string center. With a third string center playing defense.
Third string center playing defense, and your wing guarding as good an offensive player as we've seen in decades. Listen, the Knicks started the game, and they seemed to be priority number one was to limit the times that Brunson was going to be switched onto Embiid, and that they were going to do their best in having their big hedge and recover on those high ball screens.
Did they do that well?
They did. And to me, that was the start of building a defensive structure that you can continue through the game. They never allowed that two-man game to flourish. And by the time you got to the fourth quarter, and listen, it's really hard when you watch it for the first time to really see, in terms of like coverages and you have to break it down in a second or third watch. But to me, it was a battle of attrition that the Sixers lost. To me, I would love to get into this is the coverage and this is the strategy. Listen, sometimes it's just one team is tougher than the other one. And you know what? You can't tell me that you can watch these games, and this one in particular, and say that the 76ers are as tough as these New York Knicks, because they are not. And on top of that, we have Jalen Brunson, who deserves every flower, every bit of gratitude. He deserves to be celebrated, because to do that on a hostile environment, getting beat up and thrown to the ground, jumped on, fallen on by a 300-pound behemoth, and he still came and listen, it wasn't perfect, but he was an absolute rock solid, built of iron, strong-willed competitor who can just make shots like few can. And that's why the Knicks that's why they won this game.
I think, look, last season, well, it's been in stages, right? It's like the playoff series against Donovan Mitchell when Brunson was in Dallas and Donovan Mitchell was in Utah. That was like the opening salvo. Last season was the real full-throated announcement, like, I'm here, you're going to have to take me seriously. And then this past season has been, okay, now whatever you thought of me last year, you're going to need to recalibrate that. But even with what he did this season, you don't attain the sort of legend status that he is. I mean, I don't know what else he needs to do. I mean, what we saw tonight, go find your best quote unquote small guy playoff performances from NBA history. Go find your Isaiah Thomas games, go find your Steve Nash games, go find your Allen Iverson games. Like and I just named two guys that won MVPs and another guy that is, I don't know, conservatively speaking, one of the 30 greatest players of all time.
Yep.
One of the greatest clutch players of all time. This goes toe to toe with any of them. I mean, I want to read the stat line. 47 points on 18 of 34 from the field. He did this, by the way, without having his three ball tonight. He was 2 of 8 from three, and I think he realized he didn't have the three ball because it like you tell me if you feel the same way. When Brunson's feeling it from three. And I never got the sense that he was really feeling it from three in this game.
Yeah, I mean, there were some of these looks are really good, and it's shots he typically he's making. I think he had one catch and shoot from the corner, that one especially, which he ended up drawing short on, which is a shot that he has made time and time again. High percentage look for him. So yeah, I agree with you. Did not have his typical 3-point look to supplement like all his within the 3-point line scoring.
So 47 points on 34 shots, 10 assists. I don't know if you saw this. One turnover. One turnover.
I did not even see that, and that's incredible.
One turnover, running the Knicks offense for 44 minutes. And 44 minutes. Like, that is, I mean, okay, so here it is. It's the greatest playoff performance in Knicks history. That's it.
In terms of scoring the ball, it is literally the number one scoring. 47 points is the most that any Knick has ever scored in a playoff game. It's the first time any Knick has gone 40 points and 10 assists in a playoff game. I've done a lot of analyzing and breaking down and how, especially after game 2, of like how can they figure out a way to just get him some space, some better looks. What can he do better? And look, I thought the first quarter, the Sixers would probably come out of that 12 points on 9 field goals attempts, 7 jump shots. I thought he was a good first quarter, but I did not think he was dominating the game.
But they would take that, right? Because he was working so hard.
The Sixers would take that. Everything. Absolutely. And then the second quarter hits, and all of a sudden he is getting deeper in the paint. Paul Reed enters the game. And to me, that's been a little bit of a subplot here, is whenever Paul Reed has entered the game, the Jalen Brunson Hartenstein 2-man game flourishes. Brunson's able to get deeper paint touches. He gets a rhythm, and his passing just jumped off the page in that second quarter. I think he had 6 assists to go along with 11 points in the second, and dominated the game. And he was off and running. So,
and Reed minus 6 in 4 minutes, we should say.
For Embiid?
No, Paul Reed minus 6
Paul
in
Reed.
4 minutes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, and it was, you felt that. And I'm sure that was part of the reason why Nick Nurse did not take out Embiid in that second half.
And I next, look, we're going to talk about Jalen Brunson for the rest. I'll be here until midnight talking about Jalen Brunson. So it's not that I don't want to give him his attention. He's going to get a lot of attention tonight, but I want to move on to the rest of this performance. And I'm going to, so 4 minutes for Paul Reed, doing the math, and that's where it shows up. 44 minutes for Joel Embiid. Look, putting all the Embiid stuff aside, I'm gonna try to take the high road here, and I'm not gonna go with any of the. I'm not gonna talk about any of the other stuff. What I will say though is, if it looks like I'm wearing a Tom Thibodeau mask for what I'm about to say, that's because I am. You don't prepare for games like this in April or March or January or December. You prepare for games like this in September and August and July, and with your work over the summer. And the thing that's different, and this is why half of NBA players say, yeah, they might do some winning over there in New York. F that. I want nothing to do with that. You know why? I'm a professional goddamn athlete. I'd like to enjoy my life a little bit. Well, guess what? When you come here, it's a year-round job. And if you're not effing ready to play on day 1, or as ready to play on day 82 or 92 or 102 game, whatever, as you are on game 1, you're not going to play. And I'm not throwing any shade at Joel Embiid, because Joel Embiid's in good company. Most of the league would wear down the stretch if they played 40 minutes, especially at his size. This team is built differently. They are made of different. You tweeted it. It's the best tweet I've seen. They are made out of, I got to curse one more time. Sorry to my cab driver friend. They're made of fucking iron. They are made of iron, and they don't know how to wear it down. It's not an option because their coach won't let it be an option. Now, they have to endorse that, but that's what it is.
You're 100% right. And listen, I don't know if there's a stat that doesn't put the spotlight on that. They had 5 second chance points, the Knicks, in the first half. They only had 10 through three quarters. They had 11 in the fourth quarter. And it seemed like every shot they missed, and they missed a lot of them in that quarter, they were either getting that ball or they were knocking it off a 76er or they were doing every rebound the Sixers were attempting to grab on the defensive end was an absolute adventure because the Knicks, with Hartenstein not even in the game, were just relentless, led by Josh Hart, led by Precious Achiuwa, led by OG Anunoby. This is his rebounding on both sides. The best rebounding performance he's had as a Knick, one of the best I've ever seen him put forth as an NBA player.
I didn't know he was capable of it.
Listen, they put Josh Hart to start the game on Maxey. Good adjustment. Let OG roam, and he had at least three stops in the first half defending Embiid going to the basket, either shot blocks or affecting the shot. And listen, he's going to be closer to the basket. Josh Hart is not going to be there as close, so you're going to have to make up that difference. And he did it. And just you have to end possessions with defensive rebounding. It's underrated, and he was a huge part on that end. And then his defense on Embiid in the second half. Incredible. I have not seen a player of that size defend that man that well. I can't remember. Maybe it's in another OG Anunoby game when he was a Raptor. I can't think of another game where it's a wing.
Has there been a Draymond game? Maybe.
But Draymond is like he's a pseudo like center big. Anunoby, he's a wing. He's a big wing that just you brought him in here because of his versatility and the switch on that Tibbs made to take him off Maxey and allow him to roam as a defender in the first half, and then to be able to go to him as your Embiid stopper in the second half. Listen, you can talk about other defenders being in Anunoby's category or some guys being better than him, but in terms of versatility, in terms of like how you could use him, there's no one better on that side of the ball in the league than him, and he proved it tonight in as big a stage as you can prove it in.
If you told every NBA coach in the league that if you described this game situation to a T, and you're like, you get one guy to put in this role to do this thing, I have to think the vast majority, if not every NBA coach, would be like, all right, yeah, I'll take OG.
Yeah,
because I know he could do it. The possession there where it was on the right side of the court where he was fronting Embiid and just wouldn't let him get the ball.
Yeah,
and it was Maxey there, and Maxey was trying. Maxey just couldn't even inbound the ball to him.
Listen, sometimes when you have a small on you, you could get your left forearm in there, and you could push out, and you can get a little bit of a space to get that ball over the top. But he wouldn't allow him to generate any space between himself and Embiid. And then it's that pass over the top with backline help. That's another aspect. Josh Hart as a backline defender, has he ever been better?
So can I ask you something else? Sorry. So two things I want to get. I know we're not. This is not an X's and O's.
I'm jumping around and I apologize.
But I have
so
you and I want to utilize you because I don't. Here's the thing. I don't know how to talk about the performance and the toughness and the grit without at least touching on the X's and O's. So the first thing I want to ask you, Embiid was not, or excuse me, OG was not on Maxey. That in order to survive that was just guys digging deep, right?
Yeah.
And it was like you said, it was hard. But I thought also Brunson's defensive performance tonight versus, and you called it out. Credit to you, man, because everybody like me was out there yelling and screaming about all the Embiid nonsense, and you're like, look, Brunson's got to be better on defense. Like you cut through all the bullshit. You said the thing that needed to be said, and he did. And I thought he was today, right?
He was. I thought him, and then to me, it was Brunson, and it was what you're asking your bigs to do, and it's a lot to ask of them to come out and hedge on that Maxey screen and then get all the way back to Embiid. That's a tough chore to do. Think about the space that Maxey, as he flattens that pick and roll, once that screen's set, he's flattening out because all he wants to do is generate as much space between him and Embiid, who's popping out to the 3-point line. Now, the last game, it was Brunson where Lowry was in the slot trying to take away that Embiid pass, and then he's caught between a rock and a hard place.
Yep.
The Knicks adjusted by telling Hartenstein or whoever Precious to get back to Embiid. That's what we cannot have, these switches, these mismatches. It killed us, and we're not going to let it happen again. And to me, that's another. And we always talk about with Tibbs and what kind of coach is he in playoffs. He made two massive playoff adjustments in this game that if you can't analyze this game anymore and not talk about the Anunoby off Maxey, let him roam. And get your bigs to get back to Embiid and limit some of those open catch and shoot threes that Embiid was getting with fluidity in that third quarter the last time these two teams played.
And then down the stretch of the fourth quarter, I thought there were 3, 4, 5 possessions where they were defending on a string in terms of the switching and or just like getting or like helping recover. Like
Yes.
the next guy recovers, the next guy recovers, the next guy recovers, the next guy recovers. Like I'm thinking back to a podcast that I was listening to like a year or two ago. I don't know why this just popped into my head, but it was Brian Scalabrine talking to Zach Lowe about the Celtics and how the Celtics are unstoppable when they just always make the next pass.
Mhm.
And like the Sixers team, to their credit, I thought in the fourth quarter on a lot of possessions before the Knicks wore them down, was really doing a great job making the next pass. And it just didn't matter because there was just a Knick there. Every time the ball moved, Knick's there. Ball moved, the Knick is there. I mean, the amount of what does that take? I mean, it takes obviously digging deep, but just concentration. Yes. That's just ingrained in you at this point.
It's all those things. And also, if you think about the players that closed that game, McBride, Josh Hart, and
we haven't
Anunoby,
mentioned McBride tonight. Yes.
Achua. These guys not only dig deep, they're not only on a string, they have athleticism and agility, speed, athletic ability to make those rotations and not be blown by on a closeout, not get destroyed when a team is getting downhill or giving up a mismatch and not holding your own. It was that group on the defensive end, my God, because maybe part of it is Embiid was wearing down and just didn't want to be there anymore, or whatever the case was. But that was physicality met with agility, met with determination, met with almost elite athletic ability to get around and move and be in the right spot and not get exposed when you're in rotation, which typically is what happens when the Sixer team is flowing. They're in rotation. You are having to close out. You're getting 2 to the ball. You're in trouble. And then you have breakdowns. They didn't have breakdowns in that quarter because of the personnel, because of the coaching, because of the players they had out there. I mean, I can't wait to go back and watch it because it's one of the best defensive quarters I've seen in a big game. It says I can't remember one that would be a close second, to be honest with you, in years.
I have
incredible
again. So with like we're not talking about games against the Pistons in February. Like I'm, a game
big moments against a team that can do some damage and just really disrupt what you're trying to do defensively.
You always talk about you're on top of the complicated stuff, and then you're on top of the simple things that get lost between the cracks. You always talk about things like winning the closeout. Yeah. And how winning the closeout could win basketball games. And like that, like again, that fourth quarter doesn't happen if there's not just one person win, because everybody needs to win their closeout, because the first person who doesn't win the closeout, then the chain breaks.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
And then we haven't even talked about how many plays at the rim were there where somebody came up with a massive between Josh Hart.
Yes.
I mean, the Josh Hart. So like, I don't know.
Block on Batum.
The block on Batum. The block on Batum. And he had a couple. OG had at least one big one. And then the Precious. We give credit to Precious also for that last miss by Embiid. Precious was there. I mean, he at least he challenged them,
Well, the Sixers in the fourth quarter, 3 of 10 in the restricted area. 3 of 10.
Is that real?
3 of 10. I'm looking at it right now.
10
in the restricted area. So that's obviously within the charge circle. And that to me, there was some, I'm sure you could find a smoked layup out of that. But if I'm trying to replay that quarter in my head, that was a lot of like multiple hands on the ball and Knicks either knocking it out or getting underneath the Sixer player trying to finish and just disallowing easy layup attempts or dunk attempts at the rim.
But DJ, why does someone smoke a layup? Because they're uncomfortable.
Yeah, there you go.
There's no team in the league. There's no team in the league that is better at making you uncomfortable than the Knicks. The Knicks, like, they won this game. I don't know if this is going to make any sense. You talk about, like, well, did this team win the game or did this other team lose the game? They won this game because they forced Philadelphia to lose this game with what they were doing to Philadelphia. Because if you look at this fourth quarter, and there were some big makes, but like, man, I'm afraid to look how many field goals did the Knicks make in the last like 7, 8, 9 minutes of this game? It doesn't seem like there were many. Like they got to the free throw line and my God, Josh, I love you, Josh. Please don't do that to me ever again. But
yeah, I mean, the Knicks were 6 of 21 in the quarter.
There you go.
In the fourth.
So it's like, this wasn't a game where the Knicks came into Philadelphia and hit big shot after big shot in the fourth quarter to steal this one. They this was by force of will. They were to go back to the analogy I started with, they were the last man standing. And that's all this was. How tough were you?
Yeah. And I just the Brunson stuff. Listen, I know things got stagnant in the fourth quarter, and there's a lot of isolations, which he did. I thought you're going to get some isolation attempts, and listen, the playoffs, sometimes you just have to make shots when you're heavily contested and things are bogged down. He missed some in the fourth quarter. There was not much going on, and I will just mea culpa on my part, because I was like, we need Hartenstein back in the game just to inject some flow, some creativity into this fourth quarter, which seemed to be a slog for the Knicks, and it was. But
can I ask you?
Yeah,
I thought Brunson, when there were good opportunities to give it up, he gave it up.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it was just like there were no moments for him to give it up, because it just seemed like they were spreading the floor, and it was a lot of Tobias Harris one-on-one. And listen, I'm sure there's shots there that he typically is going to make, but to me, they weren't your optimal shot attempts in the fourth quarter. But that is what this is, right? We've started this by talking about the 90s and those teams. Rarely would you get clean looks. Rarely would you have a nice offensive set that was flowing. You had a back cut, or like you get an open three. That'll happen 1 through 3 quarters, but in the fourth quarter, it was not happening. Credit the Sixers. I thought they did a good job in that quarter defensively. But to stick with Achua there and keep Hartenstein on the bench, who just struggled with Embiid. And listen, if you're going to bring Hartenstein back in the game, maybe you want to, and rightfully so, you're probably going to want to keep OG on the Embiid matchup. And then you're going to have to figure out, does that mean Hartenstein's guarding Oubre? And that complicates things. So credit to Tibbs for making a decision I wouldn't have made, but was the correct one, because Achua was that dominant defensively, and it started early for him, because on those maxi drives, which he has gotten a lot of good stuff out of, getting downhill, Achua, from the time he entered the game until the time he left, was stifling those drives and making those shots over a contest without fouling. I thought he defended Maxey phenomenally in that game, and it was a great defensive play game for a player that had just always been there for this team, and it's never pretty. He missed a ton of layups, the dunk attempt that he missed. There was a couple at the rim that were like to start the fourth quarter. Those two at the beginning of the fourth, I was like, oh my God, Precious, you're gonna kill me. I know. We'll come back to bite us. One of those things.
But look, and then as the last thing I'm saying, then we'll move on. Stick around for the first couple post game segments, and then we'll get you out of here. I remember the conversation you and Benji had a few months ago about, is Precious someone that needed to be a part of the rotation no matter what, or is he just an elite depth piece? And it was great. You had a great back and forth about it. And he kind of he exists in that in-between zone. It's very clear that he is good enough in the right situation, on the right team, to be a rotation player on a team that is looking to do really serious things. But on this team, that situation was not there for him once they got Mitch back. For that dude to stay ready after he went out there and was averaging 40 minutes a game for whatever it was, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then to be ready to come in. And in this moment, man, the Knicks have a lot of stuff in the air with the center position this summer. So it may not be then, but some teams should invest in Precious Achiuwa, because that's a guy I think you would just want you want him in your program.
I think so. And there at one point in the fourth quarter, I just wrote down Knicks rebounding everything. And it felt like they were rebounding everything. And it was, a lot of it was him. Yeah. And there was one play even in the first half where I was stunned by it. He holds Embiid off with his left arm and gets an offensive rebound. He was literally holding a guy that's probably 30, 40 pounds bigger, heavier than him. And just with his left forearm, wouldn't let him move, and then grab the offensive rebound.
I remember the play. Remember the play you're talking about.
I mean, he's just part and parcel with what this team does, what the team believes in. I feel like it trickles down from the coach, and you said it about preparing in July, you prepare in August, September, and those games where a lot of, if you're in the national media, why is Tibbs playing all those guys? Why is he grinding them so hard this early in the season? What are they going to be come playoff time? What were they come playoff time, ladies and gentlemen?
This
quarter. That's what they were. And that you cannot credit this team, these players, without crediting the head coach who doesn't allow them to not be this way. It's not perfect, but it's who they are. It's their identity. It's their culture. And I couldn't be prouder of them. Could not be prouder of them.
And the front office for recognizing what the assignment is here.
Yep.
And how you go about attaining success. If this is the direction you want it to go with this head coach, which anybody who's watched this show before knows that I have always been in high favor of. But if you're going to go in that direction, be all in. Don't half-ass it.
I'm with you. And before I forget, can I mention the DiVincenzo moments? It was 70-63 in the third.
Forgotten. They will be forgotten from this game.
They shouldn't be. He makes a three to make it 70-66, makes another one to make it 70-69, back-to-back threes. Listen, when making shots is a premium, they can come in the third quarter and they could be some of the biggest shots in the game. I thought the Bojan shots in game 2 were like that, they just had a different weight to them. Those two DiVincenzo threes in that third quarter to me were massive.
Because it was danger zone. That was danger zone time. There was a world where those don't go down, and maybe Philly scores one there. It's all of a sudden, oh shit, we're down by 12 here, and we've played this hard. Maybe it's not on.
They're huge shots.
Massive for him. The Knicks won a game. Oh my God, the Knicks win a game on the road. When they shoot 7 of 27 from 3, 25.9%. I don't think they've won many games this year when they've shot that low percentage-wise. I'll look it up at some point. And Fred, I'm going to steal this from Fred Katz, who tweeted not this exact thing earlier, but something to this effect. Tells you everything you need to know about the New York Knicks, where a guy who he's not the player of the game because the player of the game set the franchise record for most points in a playoff game. But there's an argument that he's right there with Anunoby and Precious for like the second most important guy in this game, and that's Josh Hart. 46 minutes, did not make a field goal, took 7 shots, missed 7 shots, and yet the man has a genuine argument for having been the second most impactful Knick in this game. That does not compute. It does not reconcile with anything we know about basketball. Again, in the year of our Lord, you get away with that shit in 1993, 1995, or 2003, right? You can't. It's not something you get away, but they can get away with it because of everything else that they do, and also playing pretty much most of the game with 5 fouls. And he stayed on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. Deej?
Yes. Yes, sir.
It's just like,
how great was that game? Listen, I know they won. There was a point.
Got to get one more.
Go ahead.
Talking for 35 minutes. You got to get one more, and it won't be easy. No, that's all. I just got to get one more. It won't be easy. I just want to say that. Just saying that. I feel obligated to say it.
Yeah. Listen. There's fewer games are ever gonna impact me and you too, I imagine, where it just you leave it out there.
I'll remember this for the rest of my life.
And the team that you're playing is doing the same thing into the end, and where it's like the energy bar for the Sixers was just decreasing ever so slightly faster than the Knicks. And by the end of it, the Knicks had a little left in the tank and the Sixers run empty.
Yeah.
And that's what this team does.
We're going to find out what the Sixer team is made of in Game 5 with how they come out and how they're able to sustain their effort and what they got. But that is a topic of conversation for another day. Let us move on to our first couple post-game segments, which DJ is going to hang around for. First and foremost, our autograph player of the game. Download the Autograph app and use code KFS and get rewarded for your Knicks fandom. You have heard us talk a lot about Autograph recently. We're so excited to be partnered with them through the playoffs. We did a great spot the other day with someone from Autograph. It talked about a lot of things, but talked about the app. Yeah, go download it, poke around. You're gonna again win cool stuff. They just gave away a Deuce jersey for like $2. They're doing stuff like that all the time. So Autograph, player of the game. Again, use code KFS, get rewarded for your Knicks fandom. I'm gonna take the easy road here because I'm gonna go first. And you know who I'm gonna give to the player of the game to?
Tom Thibodeau.
I'm gonna give it to a man who is he 27 years old? Jalen?
Yeah, it seems right.
Sounds right?
Yeah, maybe
like
about to be 28, but close.
Yeah, whatever. Like we could. I'm not saying it could get that. I mean, I don't think it could get that much better. But like, we might be in for this for a while. Like, this is. I mean, I've said it before about him. It's why you watch. It's why you watch sports. You hope that a team that you root for at some point is graced with a player like this, a person like this, someone who you can watch and never. Like, fandom is so, as I talk about all the time on the show, like fandom can be a dicey thing because your natural emotion when someone is not performing is to start to be like, man, come on, you could do better than that. Like, Jalen Brunson is so good that, like, yeah, he missed some shots in the fourth quarter, but like he has attained a status, or at least he should, and I think he has, where every person who watches this team and every person who roots for this team, he can do no wrong. And that's not to say that we're dummies for like, oh, he walks on water. No, you have to earn that. And to earn that status in New York, like not many people ever get there in any sport. And he's gotten to that point because everybody knows no one puts more into their craft than him. And I think you saw that on the national stage in I don't know if it was the biggest game of his career so far, but it was right up there. So I'll give it to Jalen Brunson, and I'm going to toss the baton to you. You only get to pick one.
Listen, I've talked about him already, but the Knicks obviously it's not saying anything groundbreaking. They don't win the game without OG Anunoby.
Okay,
on both ends. On both ends of the court. I thought in the first half he was. Some of the drives down the lane with Embiid defending a little, I would have liked a little more diversity in some of the finishes and maybe look to kick that ball out. He was attacking though, and I thought the Knicks empowered him a little more in this game to try to make some plays with the ball, and I thought for the most part did a good job. His 2-point field goal percentage was really good. Didn't make a lot of threes, but to me, it's where he shined was on the defensive end. And Embiid ended up having 13 points in the second half. I have to go back to it. I think a lot of those were on Hartenstein fouls that he ended up getting at the free throw line. I don't recall Embiid getting any kind of rhythm with Embiid with the OG guarding him. So to me, you cut Embiid down to a peg or two, and he's a mortal player. You don't win the game if you don't do that. And it was a rough Hartenstein game defensively in that third quarter, especially.
That was rough.
For OG to come to take that assignment and just not quite dominate Embiid, but make every touch an absolute adventure to the point where by the time he got the ball, imagine the energy he expended just getting the positioning, just kept by catching the ball.
But OG's expending that same energy.
He is right. And it's and then if you watch him, and this has not been something he's built a career on, crashing the glass time after time on the offensive end. Watch OG Anunoby, watch this game again, and just watch him crash every single time in the fourth quarter. The Sixers had no shot because it's 7-2 OG wingspan OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, and Precious Achiuwa. Motors that wouldn't end. In the fourth quarter of a game, they were all playing exceptionally high minutes. Hard minutes. hard minutes, and to go back to it. You build that in August. You build that in September. Not
I've
like
never
you said
heard
in
you like
April.
this, DJ. This is like
I just
this is so special to be able to hear you, because it's a to me it's a blend, because you're all about the X's and O's. But you said it at the top. This this game is about X's and O's, right? Like Benji just had a good tweet about the adjustments that Tibbs made and everything.
Mm.
This wasn't an X's and O's win. This was a want it.
I want to revel in it. I want to let it soak in. I'll get the breakdowns, the analysis will come, but just celebrate this win, folks. Please
be proud of
these guys. Incredible win.
All right, let's get our next segment done, and then I'm going to get DJ out of here. The Unified Healing Road to Recovery. My God, what are we? This is going to be interesting.
You got about 15 minutes for this one, right?
The rest of the show. Yeah. Go to Unified Healing. That is UNIFYD healing.com to learn more and find a center near you. All right, let's. So Mitchell Robinson was listed as questionable in this game. There was an interesting Woj report before the game that seemed to suggest that Mitch was going to give it a go. Meanwhile, Steve Popper, who always trust the beat guys, folks, looked at Mitch come out and was like, he's not out yet. And then when he was out there, he didn't look right. He looked frustrated. Mitch didn't give it a go. I would imagine that he will obviously try to give it a go. I mean, if he was game time decision for this one, I would imagine he's going to try really hard to give it a go for game 5. And for as amazing as Precious was, like if they could get the version of Mitch that we've seen at times in the series, most especially game 1, that'll be a boon. Bojan Bogdanovic, again, was it Batum that landed on his ankle? Yeah,
it was.
And we went back to the locker room, was listed as questionable, and then they ruled him out. No idea what's going on there. And can I? Okay, here I'm going to ask you quickly. We don't have to spend a lot of time on this. How much did they miss Bogey in this game? Because the defense is what won them the game.
It's lost a little bit. Yeah. I don't have a great answer for you now. That's something. I want to go back to that because it didn't stand. I'm sure there are points in the fourth quarter, but he hasn't really been like a heavy minute fourth quarter player for this team. I don't know if it felt like a bogey game in terms of like what they needed in that fourth quarter, but he's an important shot maker for this team. And maybe it was like the DiVincenzo threes that we talked about. I think Deuce had, you have 2 or 1 in the
Deuce was 3 of 5.
3 of 5. Okay.
3 of 5 from 3 in this game. 4 of 7 overall. He's again, like, I'm happy you brought up the DiVincenzo shots. They're going to lost in the shuffle. Deuce, 27 minutes, 13 points on 7 shots, 4 rebounds. Big Deuce.
He just fits like a glove with what this team is all about. Yeah.
He's a freaking 6-man on this team. Yeah. It's wild. There are people who saw this coming or who claim that they saw this coming. I did not see this coming.
No, and you know what? He said it a few times. Tom Thibodeau saw it coming, and he knew it was going to be a matter of time. So credit to him, credit to Deuce. He there was points late in the season, midway through maybe, that he just looked ill-equipped for the job they were going to ask him to be the backup point guard. And he's not your prototypical backup point guard, but he's handled it enough and done a good enough job to where I am pleasantly surprised based on where he was earlier in the season, handling the ball against ball pressure and just getting them into some semblance of offense. But it's the shooting, right? That's the thing that is a complete game breaker for,
and the penetration too.
Yeah.
The fact that he can at least, he doesn't get all the way to the rim, but he doesn't need to, because that midi seems like it's,
he scrapes the arena ceiling when he shoots it, but it is
like
a pure shot. Yeah, it's incredible. He really shoots it in a way that there are very few guys in the league that do it like him.
It's wild.
There's a uniqueness to him that is pretty fascinating with that. His in-between game.
And a confidence. You're not, listen, man, there's a lot of personalities on this roster. Like you're Josh Hart's, and obviously Brunson's the leader and everybody. Like he comes in, he doesn't think twice. He's like, listen, man, the coach, and that's the other thing. Like, I don't want to make this about Tom Thibodeau again, but there have been so many complaints over the years about Tom Thibodeau not empowering young players and holding young players back. Listen, if you're a young player and you come in the gym and you do what Tibbs asked you to do, he will give you the freaking greenest of green lights in the history of coaching. And if you miss it, he doesn't care because he cares about the process. And he'll tell you, if you ask him about it in the postgame, they're good shots, right? They're good shots. He puts in the work. They're good shots. That's all he cares about.
That's it. And a lot of players, even if they're not on the team anymore, that are going to get paid a lot of money, and they owe their foundation that was built here. It's quickly. That's RJ getting paid. I mean, these guys. It is not just the players on the team. Like he is I think it's a misnomer that he's somehow stifles young players. If you, like you said, if you put in the work, and that, it goes back to like some of the comments he's made about guys maybe not doing that, and then that's why you're missing shots in games. But he is. If you show him you're putting in the work, he will empower you. And it's a great point. And Deuce is just, he perfectly embodies that belief that the coach has.
Well said. We should also just mention there was a brief scary moment where Jalen Brunson went back to the locker room after I think he landed on maybe a defensive possession or planted on a defensive possession or something, and something seemed to be bothering maybe his hip.
And the Lowry last second three in the third quarter seemed to like bump his knee, or I don't know if it was it was an ankle, but luckily he came right back out, because obviously with the way this team is going on the injury front, I was thinking the worst. Like, are we going to lose this guy for this last quarter? But thankfully he came back and seemed like he was fine. Like,
well, I don't know. We'll see if he's, and you know what? If he's not fine, he's not going to let anybody know, and he's certainly not going to use that as an excuse. We should also say regarding Bogey, report before the game that something's wrong. He got an MRI. Something's wrong with his wrist. Chris Prosiano, our own Chris Prosiano, reported this a few weeks ago. Good job by him. He's going to get some kind of procedure done in the offseason, but he's going to tough it out for the time being. We'll see if the ankle allows him to get on the court to tough out the wrist thing. Everybody's banged up.
Yep.
Everybody's banged up. You know, doesn't matter. It's no one's going to feel, as the Knicks said, no one's going to feel sorry for us. You know, we got to go out and win it. Last thoughts, DJ, before I let you go.
Well, I think the last thing is, and there's a lot of talk about how they're going to respond to the Embiid stuff. There is no hard foul. There is no, I'm going to send a message physically or to the point where I'm going to, there was no message needed to be sent that was above and beyond how they were behaving on the court with just the basketball game. And to me, that's where the message was sent. The message was sent by just not giving that man who, listen, we have every right to feel that he crossed the line in game 3.
Damn right.
Listen, you want to feel like you need to send a message and like, knock him on the ground or like put him on his ass and all that. But the message that you send him is that you are going to beat him on the court every second that he's on there and not give him an inch. And to me, the Knicks did that. And that's the ultimate message. And they sent it loud and clear. And we'll see how game 5 is going to turn out. I'm sure the building is going to be on fire, and I can't wait to see it.
DJ, this was awesome to have you here.
I couldn't be more pleased to be on with you.
Andrew texted me late last night. He's like, "You want me to ask DJ if he wants to come on with you?" I was like, "Yes," because win or lose, I'm going to be ill-equipped to talk about the adjustments and X's and O's and things of this game.
Yeah,
and I'm so happy that you were able to come on and give just very extraordinarily necessary context to the effort that we saw, because that's the thing. It's you need it all. Like, and they brought everything to a game that was really one of the better basketball games I think you'll ever see. So
I agree. Thank you.
Great to have you here for this one, man. DJ, I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
Godspeed, sir.
Take care.
Anytime. All right. On that note, we are going to move on to the rest of the show, which includes, I'm sure, a lot of super chats. We'll do a couple more segments coming up. You know what? I'm going to actually call an audible. We're going to do our scoreboard check, sponsored by T Squared Social. We're going to do that after this Dallas Clippers game is over, because we're going to be here for a while, so we might as well do that after that game ends. But in the meantime, I do want to give a shout out to everybody at T Squared Social who got together today for what I'm sure was a watch party that was a ton of fun. Again, 42nd Street, right down the block from Grand Central. Hey, if you're watching this and you're like in New York City and you're like, I want to grab a drink and celebrate this Knicks win, go to T Squared Social right now. Again, 42nd Street. Say KFS sent you. They'll give you a beer. But we'll do the T Squared Social segment again after the Dallas Clippers game is over. Let's get to some super chats because I want to feel what the people are feeling. Okay. The first 5, I'm told, are from Robert Cross, and he has more where this came from. But we're going to start with 5. Robert W. Cross. Jalen Brunson. That's the whole super chat. It's your boy, John. Did you notice loser Embiid questionably step on Hart? Didn't stop the Lion from grabbing 15 rebounds or 5 more than loser Embiid questionable. Is that his new name, loser Embiid questionable? Listen, we are going to try to stay above childish name calling, says the guy who changed his Twitter handle to F Embiid, because we don't need to resort to that level, Robert. But yes, I did see it. I also saw when Embiid gave Jalen Brunson a nice old forearm shiver and then claimed to know not what he. Well, I didn't. What are you talking about? I didn't do anything. What did you do? I'm out here playing basketball. Pull a guy's leg down. I'm just make sure it doesn't fall on me. Come on, poppycock. Thank you, Robert. Robert W. Cross with another one. Again, third of 5. It's first time, long time. It's your boy, John. Did you notice how OG shut down loser Embiid? Questionable. I enjoyed it myself. Yes, I did notice. And DJ Zula, that's why I was so happy to have him here to talk about it. Because we talk. You know what I loved about that? I loved that, like, and I'm as guilty of this as anyone. People who talk about the NBA tend to rely on, when they talk about certain players or teams or things, like they rely on like the shorthand versions of like to describe a player. And because it's like just easier than going into depth about all the things that make the player special, the team special, and the Embiid, or excuse me, and the OG shorthand is like, oh, he could guard everyone from, he'd guard your point guard, he'd guard your center, he'd guard anyone in between. That's what makes him special. He could guard Joel Embiid, he'd guard Tyrese Maxey. Rarely is there a game or a series in this case where he will actually need to do both things. In this series, he has done both things. Now, as DJ just talked about, the move for X's and O's reasons was probably to get him off of Maxey, and that worked well tonight. They don't win the game if he can't guard Embiid. Credibly, they don't win the game unless he can do that, and he fucking did it. And he did it. That's an OG Anunoby for you. That's why you go out and you trade for OG Anunoby. Because there's nobody else in the league who does what he does. Specifically what he does. Thank you, Robert. Fourth one from Robert. First time, long time. It's your boy, John. Make that 16 rebounds for Hart and 6 more than loser Embiid. Loser Embiid questionable. My bad. I did not realize you were still tweeting this stuff out as the game was going on, but I see now that Josh Hart ended up with 17 rebounds. So I wonder if there's going to be another super chat from you. And then last one from Robert before we move on to some other ones. First time, long time. It's your boy, John. I hope loser Embiid questionable's knees hold up from obscenities that pour down on his shoulders from the rafters of the Mecca on Tuesday. Well, I hope Joel Embiid packs earplugs on his Acela Express trip to New York, because I don't think he is prepared for what is in store. Now, again, I want everybody, like, we at some point, not tonight, at some point, we do need to take a deep breath before Tuesday. It feels like the series is over right now. This is the sort of win where the way they won it, and the fact that obviously they have home court advantage, you're like, the series is over, right? You feel like the series is over. Series is not over. That is an incredibly talented basketball team. Talented. Again, I'm choosing my words carefully here. They have talent. They have all the talent they need to win any game in this series. And yet, they've only won one. And that's a credit to everything that me and DJ just talked about. And obviously, it's credit to Jalen Brunson. The Knicks need to keep their foot on the gas. They need to keep doing all the things that they're doing. Ideally, they need to hit a few more shots, hit a few more free throws. I think they made the Sixers very uncomfortable tonight, and that is a large reason why the Sixers shot the way that they did. But I don't know that you're going to be able to count on another game from the Sixers where they shoot 35% from the field and 27% from three. So, that game 5, man, that looms large. That looms large. I'm not saying if they lose that game, advantage Philly. No. But Knicks, I'm sure they will, because they treat they treat a game in February against the Pistons like it's game 7. So I have no doubt that they'll treat game 5 like it's game 7. But that's a big game. It's a big game. All right. Thank you, Robert, for starting us off on the right foot. Appreciate your generosity. I don't thank you enough for it, but I'm thanking you now. Jesse M. Sorry, John Starks. Jalen Brunson is officially the best free agent signing in Knicks history. Not even debatable at this point. It's I mean, I'll do a top 10 list this summer. I think he's one of the 10 greatest free agents. I think he has to be at this point a shoo-in for one of the top 10 free agent signings in NBA history. And I think there's an argument for top 5. It's going to be tough because there are at least 5 players who have been signed as free agents and directly led their teams to a championship. And if you want to, the list gets even longer. If you want to include, LeBron James, it ended up being a sign-in trade that brought him to Miami and a sign-in trade that brought him back to Cleveland. So, do you count those? Do you not count those? Even if you count those, he's definitely in the top 10, and it's you look at Kawhi Leonard sat today for the Clippers. Even at times this year, you would have been well, obviously he's not as good a free agent signing as someone like Kawhi signing with the Clippers. And yet you look at where that organization was, they were in a really good spot. I know they were kind of shuffling the deck a little bit after they traded Blake and the whole thing, but they had reset their culture. They got new ownership. They had great years with CP and Blake Griffin. My point on going down that little tangent is to just say Jalen Brunson, he was the first superstar to sign. He decided, he's I'm going to take this on and continue to get better and better and better and better and better. Insane. Thanks, Jesse. Robert W. Cross with another one. It's your boy John. I felt that Tibbs made smart coaching decisions in the second half with Deuce, OG, and Precious. Wax poetic for me. I mean, I've done it already. I hope they don't mind me saying, because it's in our text thread, but both Fred and Benji were John, and they're they're 2 of the 5 smartest basketball minds that I have the privilege of getting to talk to on a regular basis. They're John, you have every excuse to wax poetic about Tibbs. But it wasn't just the second half. It wasn't just leaving those guys in the game. It was or playing them as much as he did. It was all the stuff that DJ talked about from the jump, the adjustments after. I mean, he's adjusted every step of the way. And I think you could argue that this is his. I mean, not even you could argue. This is a better coaching performance than first round in Cleveland last year, because first round in Cleveland last year, he was coaching against JB Bickerstaff, which I don't want to crap on JB Bickerstaff, but JB Bickerstaff is not an elite coach. So it wasn't a whole lot for Thibodeau to do to outcoach JB Bickerstaff. Nick Nurse is an excellent coach. And Tibbs, at the very least, has been with him step for step, and his team's up 3-1, and the other guy has the two quote-unquote superstars. We only have the one. So, do the math. Thanks, Robert. Drew P. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, it is my time to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. That is an Instagram post courtesy of Mitchell Robinson that he put out earlier today. Clearly, he thought he was going to be able to give it a go. Wasn't quite there. He'll get there. Nobody wants to be on the floor. I can promise you this. No one wants to be on the floor right now for these games more than Mitchell Robinson. If he could physically, be out there for Game 5, he's gonna be out there. And as the quote applies to the team at large, well done. Thank you, Drew. Freddie 1687. Precious is the unsung hero of the game. Incredible. Yeah, I saw somebody tag me on Twitter saying this was the Precious game. It's tough to be anything other than the Jalen Brunson game when Jalen Brunson set the franchise record for points. I'm looking at it right now. At halftime for Clippers Mavs, Brunson's 47 points. The rest of the Knicks 50 points. Brunson did it on 34 shots. The Knicks did it on the rest of the Knicks took 50 whatever, 2, I think. He was unbelievable. But if you want to say that, I'm going to have a hell of a time picking stars of the game for this. Is who gets the second designation? I'm probably gonna have to go with OG, and then Precious will get third billing for me. But here's the thing: OG Anunoby is a guy who's about to become a $40 million a year player, or maybe not 40, but whatever, 35, 36. Some he's about to get paid an obscenely large amount of money. The Knicks gave up an obscenely significant trade package to get him. He's supposed to do what he I don't know if anybody's supposed to do what he did to Joel Embiid today, but this is what OG Anunoby is here to do. Precious to go from being out of the rotation to stepping in and just playing the biggest minutes for the end of the third and the entire fourth quarter. I think that's your argument for why it's the Precious game, because Brunson's a superstar. OG's he's the best role player in the league, Precious is he wasn't supposed to do this, and he did it. And they don't win the game if he doesn't. Thanks, Freddie. Ryan Wong, what's going on? This fucking team. Amen to that. Brunson is the best thing to happen to this franchise since the frozen envelope. Inject precious minutes into my veins. Hashtag next man up. Where's my... Here? Oh, I must have gotten rid of it. Oh, no, I know. There it is. That's why I made the boxing analogy earlier today, but next man up works just as well. But the difference is that football teams aren't built around superstars. I mean, some of them obviously have superstar quarterbacks, but the concept of next man up is so integral to football because guys get hurt so often. And the ability for your backup offensive lineman or your backup linebacker or something to step in and do a serviceable job could be the difference between winning and losing a game. That's not next man up mentality is not really a thing that exists in the NBA. It's the talent is very clear. And if the talent that you have in reserve is better than the talent or as good as the talent that goes out because they're hurt or in foul trouble or whatever, then they're not going to be there for very long because someone else is going to pay them a lot of money to do the thing that they're not doing for your team because you have too many talented guys. It's so this stuff it's really rare, and the Knicks have a team with the next man up mentality, and they've had it all year. Thanks, Ryan. Louis Midens. This freaking team, we're considerate of my cab driver friend. Deuce McBride is a dog, and he has a role on winning basketball for a long time. At one point, he outscored the Philly bench by 6. Gentlemen's sweepy incoming. Man. If they won this series in 5 games, I mean, I hope they do. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. Unless they've just mentally broken Philly, and I don't think they have. I would be very, very, very surprised if we got anything less from an outstanding performance from the Sixers. Or let me rephrase that. I would be surprised if we got anything less than an outstanding effort from Philly to start the game at the very least, right? In Game 5. So let's see. Let's see what happens. Sam Garcia, what's going on, Sam? Damn the honey. I'm gonna oil Brunson up right effing now. Damn the honey. I'm sure he'd appreciate that, or maybe not because he's married, I think. But I'm sure he appreciates the offer. Thank you, Sam. Robert Cross with another one. It's your boy John. Knicks in 5 will be sweet music to my ears. Hey, I just realized something, Robert W. Cross. It was a couple days after your birthday, so I feel bad they couldn't get it on the big day. But, the Knicks got their 53rd win tonight. How about that? So congratulations to you. You manifested a friggin' hashtag. I don't know how you did it, but you did. Except I hope this season they could exceed your hashtag and maybe exceed it by a goodly number. We'll see. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate the generosity, man. Stephen Tro, thank you for the contribution. And thanks to everybody watching. I don't know how many people are watching, but appreciate all of you. And hope you're dancing in the streets as you watch. Haitian Ferg, what's going on, Haitian? Shout out to the bench, coach, and JB. Embiid, you're still I'm just reading the words on the page, folks. You're still a bitch. Let's go Knicks. Hey, Kenny, we got the best player on the court, bro. I got smoke for Becky with the good hair. Haitian, you broke me. Haitian, I love you. Man, who's been the best player in this series? That's a tough one because I'd have said Tyrese Maxey was the best player in the series through 2 games. Through 3 games, largely because of his Game 3 performance, I would have said that Embiid was the best player in the series. Although Maxey would have been close. And now that performance was so good. But man, his shot making was so off in games 1 and 2. And yet, you look up, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. I think at this point in time, if you're like, who's the best player in this series right now, today, I'm obviously going to say it's Jalen Brunson. I'm just trying to consider all 4 games. I'm going to read a quick quote. Haitian, thank you so much for the generous contribution, man. You're too much, and you made me lose it. This is Josh Hart on OG Anunoby and Precious Achua's defense on Joel Embiid. I don't think you can give them enough credit, honestly. They played tough. OG was like, I want that matchup. And he did a good job on him. And then when we switched and Precious got on him, he did a great job. I want that matchup. And OG's not going to tell you that because he's like the shyest guy in the room. He'll talk to you about basketball. He's great. Loves talking about basketball. He's great talking about basketball, but he's not going to like do the self-aggrandizing thing at all. But yeah. So yeah, that's where we are. Dan Hidalgo, what's going on, Dan? This effing team just finds a way to win. Incredible grit. They've responded to losses like this all year. This is why we watch. Congratulations, Knicks fam. I mean, this is why I'm just reading a quote from Josh Hart, which I'm going to read after this because it has everything to do with what we're talking about. All of the stuff that we praise this team for, all of the ways in which we say that this team is capable of winning games. it's all like interconnected. Because like I'm gonna read this quote from Josh Hart. He said this about Jalen Brunson's performance. We needed it. His starting small forward, power forward, whatever the hell I am, never misses an opportunity to take a dig at Tibbs. Ain't make a shot. I was like Shaq at the free throw line, so we needed it. But like that one soundbite tells you so much. It tells you that like, yeah, their starting small forward cannot make a shot, and they can still win a game. It tells you that they have a superstar who's capable of like overcoming every challenge tossed his way. It tells you that they have the sort of camaraderie where like these guys mercilessly like f around with each other. They mess around with each other. They are self-depreciating to themselves. Jalen Brunson's up there on the dais talking about we need to continue to be humble. And it tells you everything you need to know about this team, where Josh Hart could sit there and not a single person who watched this game is going to say a critical thing about him other than him saying about himself, even though he didn't make a shot, because they watched the game and they know the impact. That's how you respond to losses. That's like when we talk about grit and toughness and all that bullshit, like this is what that is. It's not running around with like a chicken with your head cut off. And what it is more than any of those things is preparation and putting in the work and putting in the time, the unglamorous time that nobody sees and you're not going to get paid extra for. That's what wins games. And that's what they do. That's what they do. Thank you, Dan. Rich McLeod, what's going on, Rich? 1 point for Embiid in the fourth quarter after trying to injure more Knicks players. All-time bitch performance. Let's freaking go. I'm not going to lie. When Embiid got off to the start that he got off to in the first quarter, I was like, man, is this guy just going to have one of the all-time series, in NBA history? Is he just going to, is he going to put up another 50 tonight? Because the way he came out in that first quarter, it looked like that's what he was going to do. And then when he started drawing all those fouls on Hartenstein in the third quarter, I'm like, I wonder if he's raring up. I wonder if this is what's going to happen. And they didn't let him. And I think a little bit of that is on Embiid. And I think a lot of it is with the Knicks defense. That deserves all the credit in the world. I saw he said after the game, it's a make or miss league and we didn't make shots today. That's fine. This game wasn't about making or missing shots. You know why? Because Knicks didn't make any shots in the fourth quarter. DJ told you. They were whatever they were. 7 for 20 something in the fourth, or 6 for 20 something in the fourth. The Knicks were. Didn't lose this game because you didn't make shots, big guy. You got out toughed. Got out hustled. You got out tried. Got out conditioned. Got out worked. Don't worry. You're in good company. Thanks, Rich. True statement. What's going on, True statement? We they daddy. Hashtag go New York, go New York, go. I will hold off on any comments about us fathering the Philadelphia 76ers until we've officially vanquished them from the playoffs. Today, we were their daddy. I will say that. Today, we were their daddy. Thank you, True statement. Robert W. Cross with another one. I wonder how many of the remaining super chats are from Robert Cross. It's your boy, John. What do you think the narrative will be for loser Embiid questionable? Every time I read this, I'm like, it should be loser questionable Embiid, or actually questionable loser Embiid. Questionable Embiid loser. There's a lot of different ways you could go, but the way you've chosen is very unsettling to me. When Philly, what will the narrative be when Philly crashes out in 5? Thanks. I'll hang up and listen. I don't want to talk about. I know. I'm not going to talk. Robert, DM me. I'll Venmo you $5 if you want. I'm not going to talk about what the narratives are going to be after the series is over. I'm not going to do it yet. I have too much respect for the Sixers to do that at this point after 4 games and after being up 3-1. I will say that I think there will be an immense amount of pressure on the Sixers for Game 5. I think there will be an immense amount of pressure on the Sixers, as there should be. As there should be. Like, this was. I'm going to be very curious to listen to certain national perspectives on this game tomorrow, because the Knicks won this game. They won this game. I think there will be ample criticism for Philadelphia. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that for now. Thank you, Robert. Mark Fabros, Precious was huge in the fourth. Precious was huge the whole game. Like, you can't say enough. Like, we're talking about no Mitch. We're talking about no Bogey. We haven't mentioned the name Julius Randle once. Haven't mentioned the name Julius Randle once because it's like it's not even a part of the story anymore. The fact that again, I'm going to do the thing. I know your comment was about Precious, but it all goes to the same pot, because like Precious stepping up in the fourth quarter is just, it's all about where this team has come from and what their mentality is. Imagine if you'd have been told before the season that the Knicks are going to be involved in a series with the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers are going to have both of their stars, and Julius Randle will not play a minute, and the Knicks will be up 3-1 after 4 games. What would your response have been? And then and on top of it, you're going to be like, oh yeah, it's because Precious Achiuwa in the fourth quarter just was like dominant on defense. You would accuse the person of taking fucking crazy pills. That's where we are. Thank you, Mark. Akash Trivedi, what's going on, Doc? OG and Precious on Embiid, game changing, along with Brunson, of course. Let's effing go Knicks. They're the three players that define the game, and yet that leaves out Josh Hart, leaves out Deuce McBride, and there are the 5 guys that played the fourth quarter. Here's a good one. So I think the only sub in the fourth was so Brunson obviously sat the fourth, and McBride started for him. Brunson came back in for DiVincenzo. So DiVincenzo played the first 2 minutes and 25 seconds of the fourth quarter. The Knicks were up by 1 when Brunson came in, and they ended up winning by 5. Didn't make another substitution the whole game. Thanks, Doc. Chris Carter, I need medical help. Oh man, I was gonna open with this, but I forgot. I think I probably broke my hand or did something not good to my hand in the fourth quarter of that game, because I was like slamming. I have like a steam pipe in my basement here where I podcast from, that I like. It has padding on it, so it's not like a hard pipe, but it's thin padding. Whack my hand against that. I was like slamming my hand on the floor, and my poor babysitter, who was a good friend of mine, who I have worked with for years, was sitting here with me and my 3-year-old daughter. She's now watching in the other room. Hopefully they're okay. Watching me like act like an insane person, like literally slamming my hand like half a dozen times against the floor, and just like yelling obscenities, in the presence of my, again, 3-year-old daughter. My God, the therapy bills that this kid's gonna need someday. She's the one that's gonna need the medical help, not Dad. So anyway, shout out to you, Chris. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? Precious, OG, and Hart with 5 fouls put on a masterclass of defense in the fourth. Showed you can play physical and clean. Beautiful. Can I tell you the thing that got under not under my skin, thinking under my skin. The thing that that I think Yeah, I'm just going to say it. The thing that worried me the most after game 3 is I was like, man, they lost that game on defense. You know, they lost that game on defense. Like, I know they could score more, and I know having a second shot creator, like, puts less pressure on everybody else, and it can increase your offense and the whole thing. But, like, they lost the game on defense. Putting the Embiid stuff aside, right? The Embiid nonsense. They lost the game on defense. And I'm like, man, how could they get better on defense? Because, like, Brunson's obviously going to be out there, you know? And look at who else they had out there. They had Hardenstein. They had OG Anunoby. They had Josh Hart. Like, you know, and DiVincenzo's a guy I think we all feel pretty comfortable with defensively, although today it was Deuce McBride was the way to go correctly. And I'm like, man, can this team, like, when a top-notch offense is really firing on all cylinders, like, does this team have the defensive ceiling that it takes? And shame on me for ever thinking those nasty thoughts. Again, I'll say it. I say it a lot. I'll say it again. Like, really just terrible job by me for questioning this team in any capacity, because they just have every answer every time. They just do. Thanks, Anthony. Chris V, what's going on, Chris? Embiid looked tired, but give credit to OG's defense. Yeah, I mean, but again, is that because he's hurt? Is that because he's a 300-pound man and it's game number whatever it is in the season? Is that because his conditioning went by the wayside because of the injury that he suffered? How much of it has to do with the fact that he's hurt? Like, I'll look it up. I'm fairly certain that Joel Embiid has never played this many minutes in a playoff game. I'll grab this right now. It'll take me 2 seconds. Come on, career playoffs. So prior to tonight, the most minutes Joel Embiid had ever played in a playoff game, he had played 46 minutes and 12 seconds last year in game 4 against the Boston Celtics. That game notably went to overtime. He played 45 minutes and 12 seconds in a 2019 game, an Eastern Conference semifinal game against the Toronto Raptors. That was game 7. So game 7, he played 45 minutes and 12 seconds. So I think, and then there was one other game where he played, or 2 other games where he played over 44 minutes. First round against the Raptors, that game also went into overtime. And then, sorry, I'm sure this is scintillating podcasting. Game 6 against Miami, Eastern Conference semifinal. So that was the elimination game where they lost to Miami in 6. So he played 44 minutes. How is this? 44 minutes and 3 seconds in that game. I don't have the exact minute and second count for this. I don't know if they rounded up to get the 44 or if they rounded down. But in terms of regulation games and in Joel Embiid's playoff career, the only game that he played more than 44 minutes was the game 7 against Toronto, the year that Toronto won the championship. He's never played more minutes other than that than he did today, 44 minutes. So, yeah, definitely exhausted. Kane Marco, Tape Bob General, thank you for the very generous contribution. Thank you to everyone watching. Thank you to everybody who contributed. And most of all, I know, because I want every person who gives anything and contributes to the show and contributes to what we do, I want to just try to make sure I give them their due time. So thank you for everybody's patience. Anyway, Kane Marco, I love this team like I love my mama. Let's fucking go. On that note, because I don't have anything else to add other than shout out to my mom. She's at a wedding in New Jersey right now, and she felt so bad that she couldn't be here to watch our youngest daughter. But I want to tell you, Mom, because I know you'll be listening to this tomorrow, it's okay. Isabella's fine. We're doing good. And I love this win like I love my mama. So there you go. Hayden Freed, what's going on? You're welcome. I sat next to Leon today. Oh, boy. Okay. Here we go. We got some fresh reporting here. I told him personally, we ain't need M-Flop. MSG South. Oh, South. Got it. South is shaking right now, walking out. Brunson cheers heard everywhere. Good. This will good. See, I always forget things during the intro, and these super chats jog my memory. The Knicks presence, the Knicks fan presence in Philly today. Like, you want to talk about this fan base is showing out. Like, this fan base has been showing out all season. And they showed out in games 3 and 4, but really today, like, you want to talk about loud and into it, and like, you hear the douche chants, you hear, boos when there was a bad call that went against the Knicks or something. Like, man, incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. Thank you, Hayden. Justin, this team, Brunson turning into 84. Brunson turning into 84. I think you mean 84 Bernard King, right? Right. Hart played his best game of the series by far. It's funny. Like, it might have been, Tom Thibodeau, you don't have to shoot well to play well. I don't know. I can't sit here and say it was his most impactful game when he shot like he did in game 2 and made the threes that he did in game 1. He played better today than he played in game 1. I'll give you that. I don't know that he played better today than he played in game 2, because game 2 had the first half shot making. I thought he also played very well. Because, like, shot making is part of how well you play. If you take out the shot making, then yeah, this is his best game, but it's part of the conversation too. Anyway, Embiid is so dirty. OG gets the game ball today. He battled. Let's go Knicks. You know what's wild is that, like, you're sitting here and you're like, OG gets the game ball today, right? And no one who watched this game is going to be like, oh, that's insane. Jalen Brunson scored more points than any player in franchise history. Obviously, he gets the game ball. Except watching the game, you're like, okay, you want to give the game ball to OG Anunoby? Give the game ball to OG Anunoby. That's how impactful he was. It's this friggin' team, man. Anyway, thanks, Justin. I'm just looking here at Benji's grades for this game. I'll read Robert Cross's super chat here. Hashtag 53 wins for a team that represents the city. Can't wait to see you on the KFS party bus. It's your boy, John. Yeah. Let's get one more. And then let's get 4 more. And then we can talk about party buses, Robert. Okay? I'm going to read your big threat, your boy, Big Thread Ben's grades, which I always love. Brunson, A+. There's a shocker. And here are the A-. Anunoby, A-. McBride, A-. Achua, A-. Hart gets the B+. Interesting. So, obviously, 0-7, factoring in significantly here in Benji's grading. And then Hartenstein, C+, DiVincenzo, C+. I would have, I don't know, man. I might have gone, I mean, Benji's a tough grader. So I think I might have gone A for Achua and Anunoby and A- for Hart. So I think I would have bumped all 3 of them up 1 grade. But I'm also an easy grader. And you could ask anyone that I've ever, honestly, ask my students. They know I'm an easy grader. Thanks, Robert. Connor, remember when Embiid asked Dante what he was going to do about it after another dirty play? That's what. Mitch's revenge served. Nothing like a dish. It's a dish best served cold. They didn't get into a fight. I love DJ's point about there was never a hard foul. There's no Let's send Jericho Sims into the game after 5 minutes. No. That's not what this Knicks team does. That's not how they're built. They don't need to do it. They don't want to do it. It's not what they're about. And I'm happy they didn't do any of that stuff. They went out there and they're like, we're the better basketball team. We have the best basketball player. We have the best role players. We have the best coach. We're better prepared. We're better conditioned. And we're mentally tougher. All those things came to fruition today. Every single one of them. They don't need to get involved in the nonsense. They don't need to. They're too good for it. Thank you, Connor. Dan Hidalgo, this team has carved a special place in Knicks lore. It's honestly, it's almost like, remember how you felt during Linsanity? Not again, it's a different thing, but like the thing that defined Linsanity was like you felt so lucky to be a Knicks fan in that moment, which came after 10 years of feeling not lucky to be a Knicks fan. You just feel privileged to root for this team right now. You feel privileged that we get to root for them. And if fans of 29 other teams or fans or people who aren't NBA fans or anything, like they don't get to do this. We get to do this. When a team makes you feel like privileged to have the pleasure of rooting for them, that's when you know that they've attained something special. And I don't. The only competition for me at this point is 99. That's it. And those teams are very different. Thanks, Dan. Alfie Greco. What's going on, Alfie? Bad time to be a brick wall right now. Let's fucking go! Hashtag F Philly. It's actually spelled Phuck. Yeah, man. Incredible stuff. Just absolutely incredible stuff. Thank you, Alfie. Sam L. What's going on, Sam? Prayers up for Bogey, Mitch, and JB's health. You forgot about Julius. He's still recovering from surgery. We're going to need them at full strength if we want to get to where we want to go. These guys are warriors. I'll allow myself to dabble in the what if. If you're someone who analyzes the sport for a living, for as much as like the Knicks have already forced people in the national media to recalibrate their expectations and their expectations for this team several times this year, I think people might need to recalibrate it one more time. Because like to go out there and win that game in that fashion, like you can't count them out against any team. Just can't do it. You can't count them out. They've earned that right. Thank you, Sam. I'm gonna love reading this. Oh, this is so great. This is from, oh my God. I'm going to read this super chat first. Brian Carey, what is happening? What is going on here? We get these rarely, and where I'm just looking at it and I'm like, what are we doing here? Brian, thank you so much, man. Brian Carey, I feel like have you ever super chatted before? If you did and I don't remember, I apologize. This is incredible. Thank you. On behalf of all of Knicks Film School, thank you. First time, long time. No, this is your first super chat. Okay, so you've been saving up, I guess. Retire Jalen Brunson's jersey right now. He's among the 3 most important people in my life. This is like, we've stumbled onto something with the OG Precious Deuce defensive lineup. Let's finish it at MSG. All right, so super chat of this nature deserves to spend some time on it. Most important people. Man, see, if I start listing off names, then I'm gonna piss off some people. He is in my top 10. I will say that. He's in my top 10. I mean, I'm married with two kids, and I love my wife. So he's not in my top 3. I also am like I'm a mama's boy. So just like he's not in the top 4 either. At the risk of pissing off literally everybody else that I know, I think he might be in the top 5. He has a great argument for being in the top 5. Unquestionably in the top 10. And that's sports, right? That's the ridiculousness of sports. Someone that I've never met and may never meet. But he just, he provides so much happiness and pride. And life is hard. When you have someone like Jalen Brunson that with a smile on your face, why question it? Just accept it and enjoy. As for the OG Precious and Deuce defensive lineup, all right, you know what? Fuck it. Let's have a little mini cleaning the glass session here. So, according to our good friends at Cleaning the Glass, who, if you're not subscribed to Cleaning the Glass, go subscribe to them because they do fantastic work. I don't think we've had. My guess is we probably haven't had a ton of minutes with those 3 players in particular sharing the court, but I'll got it for you right now. So with Deuce McBride, OG Anunoby, and Precious Achiuwa. Oh, no, not Mitch. With Precious on the court. For the regular season, this is just the regular season, the Knicks only had 100 and this is funny. 143 possessions. So it's not a lot of possessions. It's like probably 60, 70 minutes, whatever it is. They're a plus 24 per 100, which is insane. That's a 100th percentile number. 100th percentile number. Here's the thing. It is a 100th percentile number with a 17th percentile offense. They're only scoring 109.1 points per 100 possessions. So how, you might ask, do they have a 100 percentile point differential while having a 17th percentile offensive number? And that is because in those 143 possessions, again, McBride, OG, and Precious on the court, they are allowing 85.1 points per 100 possessions. My God. 100th percentile effective field goal percentage against. Teams are shooting 40.3 effective field goal percentage against them. Jesus. A 16.3 turnover percentage. The effective field goal percentage number is a 100th percentile number. The turnover percentage number is a 95th percentile number. And they're not giving up any free throws. 12.4 free throw rate. That's a 99th percentile number. The only metric in which this area or in which this group is struggling, those 3 on the floor at the same time, is offensive rebound. Is opponents getting offensive rebounds? Opponents are offensive rebounding 29.1% of their misses. That's a 19th percentile number. And yet, when Josh Hart is out there, if you add Josh Hart into the mix, as will shock no one, the opposing offensive rebounding number cleans up a lot. So might be onto something. I have a funny feeling we're going to see it again, not only in this series, but in the playoffs moving forward. Special stuff. Special stuff. Thank you, Brian. That was, sometimes I don't have the words, but thank you. All right, let's keep it going here. Or, hey!
Would you like some assistance with those words, Mr. Macri? First thing is first.
Yes. It's so good.
That's number 1. Number 2, we're going to play a game, John, because I know that you like to respect your opponent. So
I'm just going to respect my opponent. I live to respect my opponent.
I know you do. So you're not going to have to. Apologies to your cab driver. We're not going to use profane language here. It's going to make you say 2 words for me, okay? It's going to say get some. All right. So I'm going to say somebody, and you're going to tell them to get some. All right. Joel Embiid. Say it. Come on now. Joel Embiid.
Get some.
Nick Nurse.
Get some.
Kyle Lowry.
Get some.
Kelly Oubre.
Get some.
The corpse of Tobias Harris.
Oh, dear. Get some. Well,
That
if you can get some because you're dead.
That cracked bell.
Get some.
That's right. The city of brotherly losing.
Oh, that's a shame. Get some.
Will Smith.
Get some.
M. Night Shyamalan.
I like his movies, but get some.
The cast of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Guess what? It's pretty cloudy right now, and you can
get some.
That's right. If Zach Zarba had a spine, this series would be over.
Oh.
Shout out to my basketball team, to my head coach, and that's right, my superstar. And shout out to everybody that came to T-Squared, which we are now 3 straight wins and undefeated in the playoffs. So miss me with that curse. It's over. And anybody that brings up that curse in my mentions, you can
get some.
That's right. And my superstar, my goodness, John Macri, my superstar, has so many things to say to the national media that talked all season about what he can't do. And you know what all of them can do, John?
Get some?
That's right. They can get some.
Can I
shout out to the New York Knickerbockers for an outstanding Game 4 victory. And in the words that we've been saying for the last 2 seasons in the first round, it's Knicks in 5. Well, and guess what? If you don't think so, you can.
I might have to include myself in this. Get some.
That's right.
I hope it's Knicks in 5. Speaking of superstars, this is not a quote from the Knicks superstar. This is a quote from the Sixers superstar. And the amount of Knicks fans at Wells Fargo today. This is courtesy of Ian Begley, who is the GOAT, of course, with SNY. Disappointing. I love our fans. I think it's unfortunate, and I'm not calling them out, but it is disappointing. Obviously, you got a lot of Knicks fans, and they're down the road, and I've never seen it. And I've been here for 10 years. Yeah, it kind of pisses me off, especially because Philly is considered a sports town. They've always shown up, and I don't think that should happen. Yeah, it's not okay. Oh, that's a real shame. That is so unfortunate for him and so unfortunate for the fans of Philadelphia that they get to wallow in their own filth at hearing their beloved superstar, who they will defend to the hilt. Yeah, that's just all just a bunch of it's just all a shame. It's all a shame.
You know what it sounds like happened? It sounds like Joel Embiid got some. You loser. Goodness, trust the process. Trust these nuts. All you've done is lose. Joel Embiid. Trust the process. Endure the failure. Okay?
What? One more game.
He's a loser, John.
One more game. One more.
Fine, one more game. And when we win it, he will still be a loser. It is fitting, John, that his signature playoff game is a 50-point game in a 5-game series.
It's fitting that his signature playoff performance is a 50-point game in a game that he should not have been in. That is what is fitting. But we'll have that conversation another day. Are you here on the ones?
Oh, no. I'm going to other Philly podcasts to just drink up some tears. Shout out to Kev.
Can I?
The scenes. Go ahead. What's up?
I need to pee.
Go pee. Oh, I got this. Oh, here we go. Shout out to everybody watching. We got 3,500 people watching live. I'm going to take over for a little bit. Shout out to everybody watching. This is insane that we have 3,500 people watching live, but we appreciate all of you. Shout out to the fine folks at T-Squared Social. We had a great watch party today. Shout out to Sean with a W. It is his birthday today, and the Knicks celebrated with a W. What a game. What a superstar that we get to watch. What a team we get to root for. I'll do a super chat or two. Here is Mr. Robert Cross. It was just your birthday. DJ Ace in the Hole. He did not know that DJ was not going to be here anymore. And guess what? John is not here either to answer this, but I'll make sure that John knows what you said, Mr. Robert Cross. Can you give me a breakdown on loser Embiid questionable defensive impact in this game? I particularly liked the OG dunked. I agree on everything you said. Even if that was a question, I can't technically agree with the question, but I agree with how it was asked. He is a loser. I also thought that the Knicks made an effort to go at him, Robert, which I applauded the game plan. Didn't make a lot of shots, but those shots were affected, which I'll take. Oh, John was here, and then John left.
No, I'm here.
Okay. Robert Cross just wanted you to know that Joel Embiid is a loser.
I can't hear you because I just pulled out my mic.
It's okay. All I said was Joel Embiid is a loser, and so did Robert Cross, because it's the truth. He's a loser.
You and Robert Cross are two peas in the same pod.
Yes. Do you want to answer this question, even though it's for DJ? And only point of the question is
his defensive impact in the game, and I want to credit Kyle, who said this on the halftime Zoom. Like, the Knicks need to put Embiid in more pick and rolls. I think the Knicks did a pretty good job today getting Embiid involved in actions where he could be taken advantage of. I did think that, like, when they got close to the rim and Embiid was there, like, his impact was still significant because he's just a massive human with incredible, like, as long as he wasn't moving, all he had to do was use his timing, use his skill, and use his, like, size, like, he could still impact the game in a positive way defensively. But I think that was balanced by the fact that, like, he just wasn't moving well. Now, that being said, it still took insane shot making. Like, I don't know that there has been a better single shot by a Knick this year than the one that Jalen Brunson hit over the outstretched arm of Joel Embiid as the shot clock was running down in the fourth quarter, to put the Knicks, I believe, up 84-81. Like, that's just like that's there's no words for that. And, like, Embiid held his ground there, and listen, part of that is because Brunson wasn't feeling his three-pointer tonight. If Brunson was feeling his three-pointer tonight, I think it would have been easier for him and the Knicks to take advantage of the fact that Embiid was hobbled. But because he wasn't really feeling it, that DiVincenzo wasn't really feeling it, Josh Hart clearly didn't want to shoot at all. Like, there was only so much that they could take advantage of Embiid being hobbled. But I think to the extent that they could, they did. Yeah.
Bradley Cooper.
Gets him.
Jalen Hurts.
I got nothing against him, but I don't have anything against Bradley Cooper either. Gets him.
That's the game. Kevin Hart.
I don't care for him. Gets him.
Chase Utley.
I know there's a big one for Mets fans. Gets him.
That's right. Mets won today too. I'll think of other ones. Bravo to the New York Knickerbockers. That was how fitting that this team has all these guys play 40 minutes. Shout out to Zach Lowe. I love the enthusiasm. I love you admiring this basketball game. We've been watching guys labor through full second halves and 40-minute performances since January, my friend. This is nothing new for us in Knicks world.
He knows. He talks about it on the pod.
Well, apparently it was new over in Philly, which is why the talk of Embiid playing an entire second half is, how do you do that with our laboring center? Guess what? You're not built for it like us. Okay?
They're built differently here.
Rob McElhaney.
I don't know who that is, but gets him.
Abbott Elementary, your whole cast.
Gets him.
I'm now doing things that John has no reference to, which is amazing. Bryce Harper.
Oh, and he's a baseball player. Gets him.
That's right. All right. I'm going to let you take over your show again.
Thank you.
The entire city of Philadelphia. We're getting no love no more. No love. City of brotherly losing is what they do. You lost to try and build your team, and now 7 years later, you're still losing.
If the Knicks finish off this series, I'm going to go down and we're going to make the drive down. We're going to do a day trip down to Philadelphia, and I'm going to eat the cheesesteak, and I'm going to enjoy it like I've never enjoyed it before.
You're going to get some?
I'm going to get some
cheesesteak. Gotcha. All right, Kev, it's all you. Shout out to everybody watching. How about one more time for the Jeremy dance? All right. Back to you.
Great to see you, man. Oh, and while I'm at it, sorry, before I forget, thanks, because Andrew delivered this yesterday. Thanks to Ryan, Andrew's cousin, for this lovely bottle of, look at this. How nice is this? Beautiful. I'm going to crack this open at some point during this playoff run. Yeah, so shout out to Ryan. Jihad Brown, what's going on, Mr. Brown? Hey, John, let's fucking go. Talk about Tibbs' decision to trust Precious in crunch time. Precious and OG's performance on Embiid and Philly's dirty plays. It was definitely a trust factor. I think it was also let's ride the wave. You know, which by the way, I think is something that like oh my God, I'm gonna do a thing. I'm gonna agree with some folks who I've given a really hard time to. I get very bent out of shape when anybody suggests that like Tibbs is improved as a coach because I think he's been a great coach for years and years and years and years. The one area I will say that I think he has gotten better at is this exact thing, where if it's like one of his guys and one of his guys is not necessarily having a great game, he has gotten better at trusting whoever is playing great in the moment. I think he has gotten better at that. But even as I say that, I wonder how much it has to do with the options that he has. Because like you look at Deuce and you look at Precious, and it's like, well, there's a reason that he's trusting these guys. Because he doesn't have to worry about effort. And he doesn't have to worry, I don't think, about preparation. I think these guys put in the time, and I think he knows the effort's going to be there. And also, like Hartenstein, I think that's the other side of the coin. Was like Hartenstein was really struggling, you know. So it's not like Hartenstein was playing pretty well. Like Hartenstein, for his standards, and they are lofty standards. And by the way, he had some great possessions on Embiid in this game. It was just that by the time we got down to the third quarter, he was really struggling. By his standards, it was not a great performance. So it made it, I thought, easier to trust Precious. As far as like from a schematic standpoint, what does Precious do that Hartenstein doesn't? He's quicker. Obviously, he's quicker. He's more switchable. So if you decided you were going to go with the OG matchup on Embiid, it made all the sense in the world to stick with Precious, because at that point, you obviously you're going to trust Precious against the likes of Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre, whoever, as opposed to Hartenstein because he has more quickness. So really, it was, well, I like the OG matchup. I like how that's going. So and once that kind of really got Philly out of their rhythm, you got to a point where you're like, well, I'm not going to go back to the other thing. Like I kind of like where this is right now. And I think the interesting part, I think it did hurt the Knicks on offense. I think it did hurt the Knicks on offense to some extent because they didn't have Hartenstein there as a hub to help with the offense. And I think the absence of Hartenstein is a big reason why you saw the offense stagnate so much down the stretch. That said, the trade-off was clearly worth it. But it was not, I don't think that was an easy decision. I think there was a lot to that decision that he made. Thank you, Jihad Brown. David Feiderneck, what's going on, man? Never in doubt. Pride. I feel immense pride and chest pains. Grateful that the basketball gods repaid us. This is why you never give up on your team. I could cry. # sometimes a Don does wear shorts. Well, I got my Dante t-shirt that came in the mail memorializing the Game 2 call. Yeah, man, you're gonna make me get emotional here. Like sports should not make grown men cry tears of happiness. It makes you want the moment to never stop. Like I don't ever want tonight to end. You know, I want to live in this moment, being up 3-1 after that game. I want to live in this moment like forever. You know, I know they didn't win a championship tonight. It doesn't matter because you're never going to be prouder of your team. And like, if you think about that statement, like, this is why we watch sports. Like you put it, this is why you never give up on your team. Like you watch sports because they are an embodiment of like what you want to be. Like you want to root for players who you're like, man, if I had the talent, that's how I would go about it. Like you want it to be a reflection of yourself. Which is why I think so many people came out and were like, never trade for Joel Embiid, because nobody that's not a reflection anybody wants of themselves, or you know. But this Knicks team, especially whether you're a New Yorker who still lives here or like you, David, who is a transplanted New Yorker, or whether you're someone, like my girl Jessica in Lincoln, Nebraska, who's like, she never lived in New York, but like she has the soul of a New Yorker. Whatever you like, there's no way that you watch this team and you feel anything other than just like, man, you can't ask anything more. Like, I get to root for this team. Nobody else gets to have an ownership stake in this team, but I do. It's a cool feeling. Thank you, David. Sam Garcia's dad. What's up, Ray? Recency bias, but nothing better than beating that trash team from that trash city. F Philly. No, this is as good a win as I can remember. This is as good a win. It's playoffs. It's coming off that game 3. We were down. I mean, the Knicks were down. What were they down by 10 in this game? Never gave up. Never gave up. Never gave in. Thank you, Ray. Down by 12, yeah. Mitchell Berger, what's going on, Mitchell? Could not be more proud of this team. I have chills. Let's effing go, Knicks. Man. It's nothing but pride. Nothing but pride. Pride, joy, genuine love. Thanks, everybody, for sharing this with me. Thank you, Mitchell. Richard David, let's freaking go. Knicks, let's freaking go. KFS. We're just happy to be here, to be able to live with everybody with this, or support everybody in this moment. Be here as a supplementary piece. It's great times, great vibes. Thanks, Richard. Jessica, speaking of the devil. Embarrassed Embiid could play dirty. Brunson can get wins. Embarrassed Embiid. I like that. Embarrassed Embiid. Should be embarrassed. One skill is for legends. One is for forgettable crybabies. Hashtag Tibbs culture. Hashtag superstar Brunson. It sounds insane to say. Like, I always try. I pride myself on at least trying. I don't know if succeed, but I pride myself on at least trying to be an objective NBA fan. I try to watch as many other games as possible, and get a good idea of like how, like, what other players really are, like not just when they play the Knicks, but in general. And obviously the easiest way that I could keep up to date on all of that is by just digging into the stats, which I do believe tell a lot. I don't think it's insane to say that if you could pick one player for a 7-game playoff series and your choices are Jalen Brunson and Joel Embiid, the fact that it's not an insane statement to be like, yeah, give me Brunson. Is that what most people in the NBA would pick? Of course not. If you ask 29 other GMs or 28 other GMs, to take Philly and New York out of it, who they'd rather have for a playoff series, I don't know if everyone would pick Embiid. Sure, a lot of them would. And I get why. Go watch the game tape of game 3. Like, but then you watch this game, you watch the fourth quarter, you watch how they were kind of able to take Embiid out of his game to some extent, and you watch how there was nothing the Sixers could do to completely stymie Jalen Brunson. He is at the level where you at least have to ask yourself, like, non Joker division, man, is there anybody who I would really want on my leading my charge for a 7-game series than this dude? I don't know. Thanks, Jessica. Juanon, what's going on? You can tell the people I get really excited for. Philly is your trashy younger brother that has less class but all the heart. Salute to their fans. This was a fun one to be at. OG on Embiid, seems like we figured something out beyond the win. Okay, so yeah, salute the Philly fans. I like the trashy younger brother comp. I'm sure it was awesome. Congratulations to you for getting to be at that game. Awesome stuff. OG on Embiid. Did we figure out something? Here's the thing about that. Precious really does make the thing work, because then again, like, all right, so if it's OG and then, but you can't, here's the other part of it though. I don't want that for 48 minutes. I'm not even sure I want that for like 24 minutes. I think you go to it in spots. I think you go to it in spots and then you're selective with the help. And the other thing is, I think it's more effective in the second half. I think it's more effective as the game has gone on and Embiid has worn down more and more and more and more, because OG, with what apparently is just an endless reserve of energy, it's like advantage at Anunoby, certainly in the fourth quarter. Would it be advantage at Anunoby as much in quarter 3 or quarter 2 or quarter 1? You could still go to it there, but I think you got to be a little bit more willing to bring the help. And then if you're more willing to bring the help, it's like earlier in the game, guys aren't as tired. Maybe you get hurt from that. Maybe guys are making their threes, whatever, so, but yeah, like they found another thing that, and not found it, like they always had this, but I think they realized how big of an advantage it could be if they deployed it in a certain way and at a certain time. Thank you, Juanon. Keanu Ruiz. You have to win 4 games to win a series, and we have won 3. This is not over. That said, massive win. Go close it at the crib. I love you, John. # why not now? Keanu, I promise I'm not saying this because you just said you love me. I love you too, man. You're on my wavelength. That's why. I mean, Brunson had the quote in the postgame or on the dais, we're just going to stay humble. And like, I think that applies to the fact that he's going to get a lot of praise because he just put up 47 freaking points. But also, like, they don't act like you're up 3-1. Act like you're down 3-1. Act like this is do or die. Act like this is do or die. Come out, play your best game of the season in Game 5. And again, that's like one of the nice things about having Tibbs is you don't need to we don't need to worry about how they're going to come out in Game 5. There's not a single Knicks fan alive who's going, I hope they come out with the right energy and the right focus and all that in Game 5. Come on. Meanwhile, you look up tonight and like this game is still going on. Maybe they come back and win it, but the Dallas Mavericks came out on their home court tonight and went down by 31 points. And I'm not going to blame like Jason Kidd or Luka Doncic for that, but again, it's just like this is a different animal here. We are dealing with a different breed. They're not like anyone else. Thank you, Keanu.
I agree. And Keanu, I respect the spirit, and this team will absolutely not disappoint us in that sense. Allen Iverson.
Oh, get some.
Dr. J.
Come on. Dr. J, man. He's a legend. But get some.
Moses Malone.
Greatest offensive rebounder in history, but he could get some.
Thank you. Ben Franklin.
Jesus Christ. Get some.
That's right.
I had this quote up for a few minutes now. I'm going to read it. Josh Hart, or not a quote, it's a stat from Mike Vorkanoff. Shout out, Mike. Josh Hart is the 6th player in NBA history to have made 0 field goals and at least 15 rebounds. Ben Wallace did it twice. First to do it since Rudy Gobert 2 years ago. He's the first ever to have no field goals, 15-plus rebounds, and 5 assists in a playoff game. Hat tip, basketballreference.com. Thank you, Keanu. Robert W. Cross. It's your boy John. Oh, I see guys and girls dancing. Oh. I see guys and girls dancing. Oh. Brunson, do what you like. I have no idea the song reference that you're making, Robert. I apologize. Maybe I read it wrong. Maybe I'm old or young. I don't know. But sure. Yes. Digital Underground, Kev Words is telling me. Yeah, I don't know if I've probably listened to a Digital Underground song. I certainly can't name one. The song is called Do What You Like. Okay. That makes sense. I'm happy you're doing what you like, Robert. That's what the most important thing is. Thank you. Sanctum Axis 2. The playoff antics hurt, but honestly, shout out to the Sixers team. This game and all the others have been incredible. Let's freaking go Knicks. I'm happy you brought this up because we're all so excited here. Me, we, Knicks fans everywhere. That was the game of the playoffs. That was the game of the playoffs, and you can't have a game of the playoffs without an equally game performance by the other team. What is this? Oh, hold on, I'll get back to this in a second. So yes, the Sixers played. I thought the Sixers they made the Knicks uncomfortable on defense. They were really smart in what they were doing on offense. I think, where I would imagine Sixers fans will have some heat for their team / their coach is about the stagnation of the offense down the stretch. So there we go. Okay. GMAC just put in the chat. Remind me to teach you the Humpty dance next time I see you. Andrew, I know the Humpty dance is Digital Underground?
Yeah, the Humpty dance. It's your chance to do the hump.
I was a DJ for 7 years. I've played the Humpty
dance. How do you not know this?
Literally hundreds of times. I forgot that it was Digital Underground that's on that song.
Got it. Meek Mill. Ken.
Oh, he can get some.
Rocky Balboa.
Oh, he can get some.
Adrian Balboa.
Rocky's son, wife?
Yes.
Man, you're throwing heat at Talia Shire?
Yes, because she can.
Get some.
That's right. Charlie Day.
Get some.
Continue with your program.
Okay. I know the Humpty dance. What? Anybody knows the Humpty dance. I just didn't know that song. And I forgot that Digital Underground was responsible for the Humpty dance. Thanks, Santa Maxis. I appreciate that comment. Jesse M. Philly made a total of 29 field goals. Brunson made 18 alone. That's a great freaking stat. That is a great, not a good stat. That's an elite stat. Thank you, Jesse. 18 field goals for Brunson. 15 combined for Maxey and Embiid. How about them apples? Thank you, Jesse. Murphy, Josh Hart, no fear. 5 fouls and still like the Energizer Bunny. It'll be, I've said things of this nature before in when I do my stars of the game. Shout out again to all my Knicks Film School newsletter subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, go sign up on Substack. We're getting close to 10,000 subscribers, so you could be in a nice club there. I've said it several times throughout this year, like, oh my God, this is going to be the hardest cut, to not have someone in the top 3 or, this to not have Josh Hart in the top 3 for players of the game is going to be That's painful. That's going to be super painful. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but he's probably not getting in there. It's going to be tough. Thank you, Murphy. Hush Zoo, what's going on, Hush? Putting Hart or McBride and letting OG be the helper. I think you mean putting Hart or McBride on Maxey and letting OG be the helper was the adjustment. Credit to the coaching staff. Brunson's the MVP. Precious and OG, I love you. Deuce. Yeah, I think I agree. I think it was, but again, in order for that adjustment to work, you had to have your bigs be ready, willing, and able to be flying around defensively. And their bigs were ready, willing, and able, and they flew around defensively. Outstanding job. And then also, by the way, OG needed to continue to make his presence known. And for some players, it's easier to make their presence known on the ball than off the ball. For OG, he's a unicorn. He could do anything. Thanks, Hush. Zach Carr, what's going on, Zach? Philly's lasting memory of the season will be MVP chance for the best player on the floor. Oh, I like that. JB OG on him, bitch. Jesus. I'm just reading the words, folks. I'm just reading the words. With Precious's quickness, switching was it. Shout out to our boys in the building. Let's freaking go. Or let's WNN. Why not now? Yeah, you would think that I would know our postseason slogan by now. But yeah, why not now? Why not now? Why not us? I'm running out of ways to answer that question in the negative. I think everybody else is too. Yeah, and again, shout out to Knicks fans. Now they might be in Embiid's head. Thanks, Zach. Robert Cross with another one. First time, long time. It's your boy John. Correction. Hart had 17 rebounds or 7 more than loser Embiid. Questionable. I think if you're going to highlight one thing that broke Philly's spirit, you can argue it was the defense more, or excuse me, the rebounding more than the defense. You could argue it was the rebounding more than the defense because there were so many possessions where they gave it everything on the defensive end and they defended like not good, not great. They defended brilliantly. I'm talking about the Sixers now. It just didn't matter. And I can't. Bojan Bogdanović, massive offensive piece for this team. Didn't have him. Dante DiVincenzo, second most offensive player for this team. Was not on the floor for the fourth quarter. Didn't have him because they needed the better defense. Isaiah Hartenstein, massively important offensive piece for this team. Didn't have him on the floor. Like, they were trying to... And Josh Hart, who at times has been a big offensive force, not in this game. Like, all of the other ways that they could generate offense other than Jalen Brunson go save us were not available to them. They were not out there on the court. All of their, like, option B, option C, option D, none of them were out there. They had to go to option E, F, G, if it wasn't going to be A, Brunson. And they still did it. And the reason that it worked is because the offensive rebounding broke Philly's spirit. Thank you, Robert. Hush Zoo. There's an argument. Try a 3-center rotation in Game 5. I mean, I said it before the series. I thought I was very clear about this. I thought Precious would play important minutes, and I still think he'll play important minutes. And that's if Mitch gives it a go. And look, they may try to be a little bit more conservative with Mitch, because of what's going on with Precious and what they could do with OG. Thanks, Hush. Kenneth Escalona, what's going on, Kenneth? Man, Josh Hart, Brunson, OG, Precious McBride. Important threes, DiVincenzo. iHeart, it's already 4 a.m. here. Gonna sleep now. Teamwork. Tibbs. You got it all in there, Kenneth. It's 4 a.m. Where are you that it is 4 a.m.? You are somewhere in... My God, what's 10 hours ahead? Is it somewhere in Asia? Australia? Hong Kong. How you doing? How you doing, Hong Kong? I'd love to go to Hong Kong. I've been to Asia. I'd love to go. I'll hit you up when I do, Kenneth. Thank you. Thank you for the generosity. Mark Sable. What's going on, Mark? Stuck in a hotel room in Chicago with a stomach virus, but there's no better cure than watching a historic game by Brunson. Hashtag why not now? And to quote GMAC, hashtag why not this point guard? Amen to that. They don't know what they're not supposed to do. They're up 3-1 in this series. They're up 3-1 in this series, and Embiid has played better at a higher level and more minutes than any of us thought that he was going to be able to play. And Maxey, like, all right, Maxey didn't have a great game today. Maxey probably had his worst game of the series today. And you know what Maxey's worst game of the series was? Maxey's worst game of the series was 23 points on 21 shots. with 6 assists and 6 rebounds, and 1 turnover. That's Maxi's worst game of the series. Like, and they're up. And they're up 3-1. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate the shout out. John, Nick Foles,
Get some.
Questlove.
Man, he's a legend. Get some.
Indeed a legend, but he can get some. Amish people.
Oh, they can get some. Fuck them.
DJ Jazzy Jeff.
My God. Paul George
Yeah,
is
I
an
know.
incredible shot. DJ Jazzy Jeff. I don't really care about him. Get some.
Bill Cosby. Whoa, no, never mind. Forget I said that. I almost went a direction that tell Bill Cosby to get some. Never mind.
Bill Cosby should not get any.
No,
from
Bill
anyone.
Cosby should not get anything. We stand with people. No, not Bill Cosby. Don Staley.
Get some.
There you go.
ML Nair. What's going on, ML Nair? After Embiid hit Brunson, it looked like Brunson and the team said, F this, you are not beating us. Yeah, they took matters into their own hands. The refs aren't going to do anything about it. That's fine. And the Knicks, hold on. That was early. It was at the 7:45 mark, roughly, of the third quarter. When that happened, when that review happened in the third, hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. The Knicks were down by 10 points. They were down 61-51 when that forearm happened. The refs didn't see. The refs didn't think anything to call. The refs were swallowing their whistle, whatever the refs were doing. That was 61-51 Philly. The Knicks would outscore the Sixers over the rest of the game 46-31. Might be on something there, ML there. Might be onto something there. Kaumlaut, hope I got that right, started watching sports in the 21-22 season. Oh, welcome aboard. This team made me fall in love with basketball so quick and hard. I'm never going back. I love these guys. That makes me really happy, and for so many reasons. It's like I think you might have came in like at the best possible time. You know, to be a new fan of this team right around these like last 4 years. Let me just tell you something though. Kaumlaut, I hope I got again the name right. Wasn't always this good. Enjoy what we got. Enjoy what you have. Thanks, man. And thanks for making KFS part of your journey. Andrew Claudio. Oh, I just saw you. They probably win by 40 if they play zone.
With
That's
much
great.
love to OG team, by the way,
Much
who has a comment coming.
I'm sure he
you
does.
don't you don't have to get some, by the way, OG team. You've gotten enough. From us over the last couple
No
of
Knicks
days.
fans.
Yeah.
No Knicks fans got something.
That's right. No Knicks fans. But you know who does, John? Donovan McNabb.
He could get some. That's fine.
Yes. Betsy
Okay.
Ross.
Betsy Ross?
The woman that made the flag.
Sure. Get some.
Yes, she's from Philadelphia. Lil Dicky. I'd be shocked if you know who this is.
Little Dicky could walk into my apartment right now and I wouldn't know who he was. So he could get some.
I know. Adam Silver.
Is he from Philly?
No, but he could get some.
Oh, sure. Why not? Get some, Adam.
There you go. I sent this super chat 2 hours ago.
Jesus Christ. Thank you for everybody's patience. Truly. And thank you, Andrew Claudio, for your generosity. OG team, proud owner of Worst Take here. At least you admit it. Can't believe Embiid gave up the open shot to foul bait there at the end. Actually, I do believe it. Let's close this. Yeah, I mean, Embiid wore down. He wore down mentally. He wore down physically. He probably wore down emotionally. You know, look, you know, I thought about the take more. And to be very clear, I was like going a little over the top, as not that I've ever gone over the top before, but the spirit of why I was coming out so hard at you is like, yeah, there's always going to be a game where you're like, oh man, it would be better if the Knicks did this or that, or like had this in their back pocket or that in their back pocket. You win with preparation. And like, yeah, the Heat pull out a zone. They sacrifice preparation of other things so they can prepare for the zone. That's a choice that they make. It is a choice that has worked out well for them. The Knicks under Thibodeau have made a decision. We are going to be the best as we possibly can because we're going to put all of our attention into playing defense this way. And we will be able to pivot off of playing defense this way when we need, but we need to put all of our focus into those pivots as opposed to playing a completely different style of defense, because you just only you can only do so much. And I think what you saw today was an example of like, this was a branch from like the sacred timeline for any fans of Loki. Like, you have the sacred timeline, which is, the center hangs, is always guarding. There's always rim protection, the whole thing. And we're always going to try to protect Jalen Brunson. And we don't want to switch and like all those things. That's the sacred timeline. But because you have prepared and practiced so much on so many variations of that sacred timeline, you can pull out a pivot like they did today. And it's not a drastic thing. It's not, oh shit, the Sixers have gotten in our heads. We need to completely throw everything we've done all year up in the air and start from scratch. No, it's like, all right, we have the adjustment. We just need to use it. It's in their bag. And they are able to do that because of how they have prepared throughout the season. And that's why it was the right move to stick with what they do. Thank you so much, OG team. Kenneth Escalona with another one. By the way, commissioner was present. Seems a bit fair calls or something along the lines. Maybe that's why there were fair calls. I didn't have a problem with the whistle today. I know they missed the Brunson forearm or the Embiid forearm on Brunson. I didn't have a problem with the whistle today. I thought the whistle was fine. Embiid getting 5 fouls on Isaiah Hartenstein in 1 quarter is annoying, but like, Hartenstein even said it himself after the game 3. He's like, they were fouls. I got to be better. He'll say the same thing tonight. Thanks, Kenneth. Anthony Strano, what's going on, Anthony? Job done. Let's head down the Turnpike. Knicks in 5. Let's effing go. Yeah, the job's done through 4 games. Like, you've done everything you could do reasonably have expected to do through 4 games. Job's not done yet. Don't sound like, don't be like that Sixers announcer who was saying job done after they were up by 5 points with 45 seconds left to go in game 2. We don't want to be that guy. We don't want to be that guy. More work to do. Thank you, Anthony. S Karma. Don't see a comment here, but thank you for your generosity. And here's Jessica again. The only zone needed entering the Brunson zone. I love that. Where despite dirty plays, he outplays your ass like an old fiddle. File a grievance for that, losers. I love it. Let me say this about Jalen Brunson. Where is there a superstar in the NBA that works harder? I mean, this is Kobe level work ethic. This is Kobe level work ethic. Tibbs always talks about him being the first guy in the gym, last guy to leave. That's not blowing smoke up anybody's ass. That's just reality. He is a 1A superstar with a chip on his shoulder the size of Manhattan Island. Where else are you going to find that? Seriously. You could go to different sports. Go find me any athlete playing today that has this game and this level of skill with the chip on their shoulder that's that big, that pushes them to go further than any human being should probably feel like they have any right to go. Not going to find it. Thank you, Jessica. Brian Les, what's going on, Brian? Hart plus OG equals 31 rebounds. Rest of the team, 21. Mind boggled. Yeah, I mean, it's a credit to those guys. Schematically, we put OG in position to get rebounds today, but he had to get them. Like Hart, Hart's a given. Hart's a given. He's Josh Hart. The OG rebounds, man, that's wild. But you rebound, you also rebound as a team. Again, not to sound like Tibbs, you guard great players as a team. You guard them with your whole team. You rebound as a team, because if there's someone that the opposing team doesn't have to worry about on the boards, well, then it makes it that much easier to box out the likes of a Josh Hart, so he doesn't get 17 rebounds. By the way, just couple stats. So, in the playoffs so far, so Joel Embiid is still the leading scorer in the playoffs, 35 points a game. Jalen Brunson is second at 33 points a game. In terms of rebounds per game, Josh Hart is sixth, trailing only Rudy Gobert, Bobby Portis, Jared Allen, Nikola Jokic, and Anthony Davis. How you like them apples? Thank you, Brian. Robert W. Cross, DJ Ace in the hole. Do you think loser Embiid questionable was slowed down by his cheap shot on Brunson in the second half? I'll answer for DJ again. I don't think so. I think he's just worn down. He was just worn down. His conditioning isn't all the way there. But then again, his conditioning is never there at this time of year. When has Embiid's conditioning ever been there come playoff time? I wonder if he regrets the decision, or is he going to continue claiming that he didn't remember it or didn't do it intentionally? Thanks, Robert. Stevens Guillaume, what a hard-fought win. Brunson is him. Philly's still playing dirty. Let's close this out on Tuesday. I so badly want to close this out on Tuesday. You have no idea. The notion of the Knicks lost the home game. Got to go down to Philly for game 6 where Philly's on their home court and it's going to be tough and the whole thing. I would just as soon avoid all of that. I would just as soon avoid all of that. And look, whatever the Knicks do, as long as they play the way they play, we're going to be proud of them game 5 regardless. But you don't know. Are you going to get another legendary Brunson game? I don't know. What I do know is that you should expect more offensively from Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart. And probably from Hartenstein as well. Maybe you get Bogey in there. Maybe you get Mitch in there. We'll see. Anyway. Speaking of Jalen Brunson being him, this is Kelly Oubre on how Jalen Brunson dropped 47 points on the Sixers. 34 shots, and then he shook his head. I mean, this is courtesy of the New York Basketball Twitter account. Must follow. Go follow New York Basketball on Twitter. I mean, yeah, he's a great player. Love his game. But anyone who shoots 34 shots that has skill and he's a great player, they're going to be able to do well. And especially getting mismatches. He was due. So the really, truly idiotic thing there, I mean, truly idiotic, is he's acting like shooting 34. Well, yeah, of course, if he's going to take 34 shots and he can get 47 points because he's a skilled player. The amount of stamina needed to take 34 shots and not get look again, Jalen Brunson's never going to be in any all defense conversation ever. But if he does not hold his end of the bargain on the defensive end, it all falls apart because they won the game with defense. And that means everybody on the floor, including Jalen Brunson. So when you have to work that hard on the other end, you're not supposed to be able to take 34 shots and be efficient. I get it. It's easy for Kelly Oubre to say. Because Oubre's never had to give the sort of two-way performance Jalen Brunson gave tonight. He's never had to give all of that, give that much of himself in a basketball game, and he never will because he's Kelly Oubre. No offense.
Kelly Oubre.
Get some.
Larry Brown.
Get some.
The cast of Boy Meets World.
Oh, come on. Not with the exception of Topanga. They could all get some.
Important clarification. Charles
Topanga holds
Barkley.
a special place in my heart.
Charles Barkley.
Oh, he could get some.
Jimmy Rollins.
Get some.
Apparently, David Lynch, the director, is from Philly.
Not a big David Lynch guy, but he could get some.
Last but not least, Kevin Bacon.
Like Kevin Bacon. Yeah, he could get some, though.
The Rocky Steps.
They're an inanimate object. Sure, they could get some.
And so can the statue.
Thanks, Stevens. Alex, other Alex. I think it's safe to say Brunson has figured out Nurse. Embiid should save himself further embarrassment and leak out to Woj that he can't play in Game 5. No, he's going to play. Has he figured it out? I think he's just been making shots. Are the looks better? Yeah, the looks are better. He's figured some stuff out. The team has figured some stuff out, and he's made shots. It's a combination of all of those things. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you, man. Jessica with another one. Precious, Embiid's stopper. Man, you do guard great players with your team, and your whole team has to make him work. Your whole team has to make Embiid work hard. And they did. And that allowed Precious to have the impact that he I thought. Thank you, Jessica. Next up, Zayad Rahim. I was wrong. No code red was necessary to pull this off, unless you consider the team beating the living shit out of Philly with their sheer concentrated effort and will. Our code red. That is our code red. Because, and then that's why they knew they didn't need to resort to dirty plays. You said it. You nailed it. Like, there's a reason why this team doesn't need to resort to that nonsense. Because they know how good they are, and they don't want to get taken out of their game, and they don't want to lose any of their players. You know, it's another part of it. Thank you, Zayed. Ahmad Berdajaj. What's going on, Ahmad? This effing team, Embiid. That is all. Thank you, Armin. And thank you to everybody. People are still pouring in super chats. This is incredible. Jessica with another one. So apparently the process is, let's get this correct. Losing, crying about it, blaming others, playing dirty, and losing some more. Sounds like a pretty shitty process to me. Where is it? No, Jess, you gotta. There it is. You have to trust the process. There he is. Who else is on the cover of this book? Oh, Ben Simmons is on the cover of this book. And Markelle Fultz. And Sam Hinkie. And Brett Brown. It's crazy. There's only one guy left. It's just Embiid. You know? It's just Embiid. He's the only one left from the process, really. Which is kind of wild. Been a long road for Philly. Thanks, Jess. OCD. Luke Stone, what's going on, Luke? Dante was rough most of the game, but those 2 threes late in the third were massive. You need everybody. Can't win the game like this if you don't have big moments at some point from everybody. And he's their shooter. I'm borderline stunned that the Knicks, as stunned as I was that the Knicks were up in this series 2-0 with Brunson having played 2, for him, very subpar games. I'm kind of equally stunned that the Knicks are where they are in this series, where Dante DiVincenzo is shooting 34% from the field and just under 35% from three. But it's not the just under 35% from three that's getting me. It's the fact that he has only taken 5.8 threes per game, attempted 5.8 threes per game in 30 minutes a night. He's averaged like 11 or 12 threes a night for like 4 months. His firing and firing and firing and firing some more, that has become just such a massive part of their offense. And it hasn't been. But when they needed him, he came through. Thank you, Luke. Fritz Marty Jr., thank you for the generous contribution. I just received my Why Not Now orange and blue skies, baby. Or my Why Not Now t-shirt. Orange and blue skies, baby. Here we go. Look, there it is. You guys see it? Hey, that's a nice look. I'll rock it again. I'm going through the rotation. I wanted to wear the double bang call for tonight because I wanted to bring the good vibes, and I guess it worked. So I'll give myself credit. I won this game for us. That's it. I won the game. Sure. Thanks, Fritz. Enjoy the t-shirt. Thank you for ordering. Thank you for watching. Mr. Knicks 101. Who do you guys think we should get during the offseason? Depth is too good to break up. Embiid is a fraud. I can't be having offseason conversations right now. Look, let's see how the rest of the postseason goes. At this rate, there's a very real argument for let's run it back with Julius. Maybe swap out Bogey for a different rotation piece. You need 9 in the regular season. You figure you could probably utilize put aside a potential big trade, which they should obviously be very selective before they break up the core of this team. But if you're just trying to make an upgrade somewhere, obviously you got to take care of the Hartenstein thing. Got to bring Hartenstein back. But yeah, see who's out there that you could you use the Bogey contract and then a little draft asset or two to try and get. We'll see. It's tough because here's the thing about this team. They're so good and they fit so well together. You're not just going to bring anybody in here. It has to be a certain type of player. Thanks, Mr. Knicks 101. Rafa, let's go Knicks. Love OG on Joel Embiid. Finish this Tuesday. Yes, I love all the finish this Tuesday energy. I want to finish this Tuesday too. I really do. Thanks, Rafa. Oh, wait, hold on. There it is. So reliable. Oh, man. Man, there is an account on the internet that if you are looking for someone to give a critical tweet of a quote about a coach after a loss, it's as reliable as the sun coming up. And he didn't disappoint, of course. Anyway. Brian Lests. What's going on, Brian? The secret to life. Find something you love as much as Joel Embiid loves mangling legs and scrotums. Genghis Khan with Khan spelled C-O-N. That might be the super chat of the night. Holy Christ. Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. That's fantastic. Thank you, Brian. I needed that. May Westerlund. Gotta find a wife and procreate for the sole purpose of naming my child Jalen. Let's freaking go Knicks. Man, I rooted for girls both my time when my wife was pregnant. I will not be having another child. I can promise you that. And so you do that for me, and I will send pictures. But yes, having kids is a beautiful thing. I'll say that. Thank you, May or Mai. I don't know which it is. Zach Horowitz again. Clyde Willing. If we ever get to round 2, I'll be so much more keyed up than whoever we play, or will be so much more keyed up than whoever we play. Teams that took a push for an easy round 1 won't be ready for this. How'd Cavs feeling today? Seriously, how the Cavs feeling today? Talking about scrotums. They just got their scrotums handed to them on a silver dining tray by the Orlando Magic. 2 games in a row in Orlando. How you doing? Thanks, Zach. Alex, I hope you enjoyed the beer, man. Don't know the order, but no quit, all grit, close knit. I think you got the order right. I loved this team and KFS crew. Great event at T-Squared Social. OG 47 minutes. Boyan gave up his body so Precious could fly. You know, I love there's a guy in the Substack chat that's always predicting bogey, a 25-point bogey game incoming. That guy is awesome. I don't know who he is, but he's a lot of fun. Knicks in 5 win on Tuesday. I hope so. A couple of tweets that I want to shout out really quick. Haralabob tweeted out that the Knicks had a 73 offensive rebound percentage rate in the 32 offensive possessions that Hardenstein was off the floor. So, and DJ retweeted this saying, basically, the Knicks rebounded 3/4 of their misses despite their top 2 offensive rebounders not being on the floor, factoring in Mitch there. That's a great job by you, DJ. And then Benji just now added to that same concept the definition of wearing a team down. The 76ers held up on the boards for most of that game, but only one of these teams got extremely accustomed to playing 40 minutes a night over the course of the regular season. And Joel isn't in that place physically at the moment. No, he's not. Thank you, Alex. Huzzoo. Embiid is dirty. I don't care. Elbowing Brunson, trying to be slick, hiding the second step on Josh Hart. But too bad this team is relentless. Absolute dogs. Let's go Knicks. I think he's a dirty player. Just go look at the tape. The clip of him trying to take out John Collins' legs that was going around on Twitter yesterday. Like, Embiid's a dirty player. You don't like, I know you're big and whatever. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. You don't get to in one breath. Everybody's like, oh my God, he's the most skilled big man ever, or one of the most skilled big men ever. Like, his ability to have total and complete control of his body when he's on the move and when he's shooting and when he's passing and all of this other nonsense. You don't get that. And then you turn into fucking Will Purdue or you know, I don't know why I poor Will Purdue. Sorry, Will. But like, whatever. Those, like, some big oaf. Greg Ostertag, you know, whatever. You don't get to turn into that guy all of a sudden when you're flying around on the court. Like, come on, man. You're such a fraud. Thanks, Hush. Dom Cappuccini. Knicks in 5. What's going on, Dom? It's right there. Let's take it on Tuesday. Primal scream at the moon. I made some noises tonight. Few. Couple. Handful. I'm happy for you, Dom. The best Knicks fan I know. I mean that. Hush Zoo with another one. From a crowd standpoint, Hush, thanks for the generosity, man. You're all over it tonight. Seriously. From a crowd standpoint, the Knicks are now owners of the Hornets, Nets, Heat, Magic, Wizards, and now the Sixers Arena. I think they just, like, might travel really well. Like, we've been waiting for this. We've been, like, lying in wait. We're like the cicadas. You might go a bunch of years without seeing us, but when we show up, boy, do we show the hell up. You know? So, be prepared, Indy or Milwaukee. If we get there, got to win one more game. Important caveat. Thanks, Hush. Worldwide Knicks. What's going on, Worldwide Knicks? Knicks fans were incredible tonight. After a poor first quarter, they were so loud and dragged the team back into it. It wasn't even a poor first quarter. It was a bad shooting first quarter. I thought they had a good game plan. Oh, look at this. Appropriately enough. The Coach of the Year voting things just came out. So here's the thing. Perfect corollary here. I thought their game plan was fantastic. They just didn't hit shots. Like in the first quarter, the Knicks were... Brunson was 5-9. The rest of the team was hit 2 field goals. 2 of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 2 of 12. So if you were a Knick not named Jalen Brunson in the first quarter, you were 2 of 12. They held the Sixers to 27 points. And Embiid was awesome. And you knew he was going to be awesome in the first quarter, and he still held him to 27. That's a job well done. Only got, 2 offensive rebounds in that first quarter. Sixers did a good job keeping the Knicks off the glass. Like, they shot poorly. I thought they played okay. On to the Coach of the Year thing. Tom Thibodeau, Dagnall won in a landslide, as you figured he would. Really happy for Jamal Mosley. He was my pick to win this award, and he finished second. I'm really, really happy for him. I thought he deserved, at the very least, the top 2 finish. Chris Finch third, Mazzulla fourth, and Tom Thibodeau, 2 first-place votes, 14 second-place votes, 7 third-place votes. So out of 100 total voters, Thibodeau got 23 total votes. But that's a big, if you know, you know. Because if you look at everyone who didn't finish in the top 2, it gets progressively bigger, first to second to third place votes. First to second to third place votes, Mazzulla. Whereas Tibbs, it's 2 first place votes, 1 more than Finch, and just 2 less than Mosley. And 14 second place votes, which was just trailed Mazzulla and is not that far off from Finch. Like, the people who have respect for Tom Thibodeau in this league have undying respect for Tom Thibodeau in this league. And then there are other people who are just not in on Tibbs, and they just, but the people who know the impact he has on a day-to-day basis, and those are probably the people who have had interactions with him. Because here's the thing, and shout out to Fred Katz, who's been kind enough to kind of share some of his insight about this, having been a reporter covering this league for many years, and not only in New York, but elsewhere. And he's kind of talked about this stuff on the pod as well. And on his pod, shout out Cats and Shoot. Go to patreon.com, subscribe to that. When you find someone who has had interactions with Tibbs, they're forever changed. Because they just, they see it. They see it in person. Thank you, Worldwide Knicks. Dom Cappuccini with another one. Shout out to all the less glamorous names, Deuce, Precious, and Hart. Well, Precious is getting a star, so it's more Deuce and Hart for this one. Also love the gamble by Tibbs to put OG on Embiid in the 4th. Finish the job. Here's the thing, Dom. I don't always disagree with you. I'm going to disagree with you strongly here, and here's why. It's not a gamble. It's not a gamble because of what OG is capable of, and why Tibbs. Tibbs will never gamble, to his detriment. Right? How many times over the years, and validly so, have fans looked at decisions he's made, and they're like, "Man, come on, man! What are you doing? We know what Alec Burks is a point guard. Do something else," or any number of other examples, because he doesn't gamble. He will not go to something unless he feels confident in the outcome, and he would not have gone to OG Anunoby there unless he felt confident in the outcome relative to other options. So we may perceive it as a gamble. I don't think Tibbs perceived it as a gamble. Thanks, Tom. Hush Zoo. Again, awesome job tonight, Hush. Embiid passing up the open midi at the end to go try to foul bait in the paint and not get the call. Felt like poetic justice. Hate watching him. I think we had an earlier comment to this effect, too. Yeah. He was shook. Thanks, Hush. Zach Horowitz with another one. Imagine trying to board versus iHeart, OG, and Hart. Ow. Yeah, and again, that's credit to Haralabob for pointing out that the Knicks' offensive rebounds largely came with Hartenstein off the floor, and they didn't even have Mitch in this game. I mean, if you look right now, see if this is updated yet. In terms of offensive rebounding percentage, yeah, Sorry, that was regular season. Playoff offensive rebounding percentage. The Knicks, 38.9%. 38.9%. That would have been first in the league by a mile, which, by the way, the Knicks were first in the league, but this is so much higher than their regular season number, which was like 32 or 33%. Second, Minnesota Timberwolves, who, by the by, get to play the Phoenix Suns, who, by the by, couldn't rebound against you or me. And they also they're just a terrible defensive rebounding team. And then third, Indiana at 32.7. So the Knicks are in their own stratosphere as far as offensive rebounding in the playoffs thus far. Thanks, Zach. Lunas, am I right? What's going on, Lunas? I know it's been a bit, but it's still hard to grasp that someone as good as Jalen is on the Knicks. Genuinely hard to think of others I'd rather have in the final 2 minutes. I mean, he finished fifth in Clutch Player of the Year voting, which is a testament to him considering the fact that he didn't really have a signature clutch moment this year. Right? Maybe I'm forgetting one. I'm talking about a signature, either a game winner or a shot. Honestly, his most signature clutch moment was arguably the shot against Oklahoma City, and they ended up losing that game because SGA, who finished ahead of him in the clutch voting, had a better clutch moment. But he is such a steady hand that you feel so good about having him out there. Is it hard to grasp that he's on our team? Yes and no. Yes, because good things never happen to us. We're Knicks fans. Yes, because his whole family is here. Extended, literal family, extended family. They're all here. So it was written in the stars. But I get what you're saying. It's for us to experience him, it's shit doesn't happen to us. Thanks, Lunas. Bill Peterfriend, my Substack email buddy. This effing team. Yeah. Yep. No notes. 10 out of 10. Mike Sharp, F dirty Kyle Lowry. That precious arm pull was nuts. Listen, Kyle Lowry's going to do what Kyle Lowry does, and God, knowing him, he's going to be doing it for another 5 years in the league because teams are always going to employ him because he's a guy you want on your roster. I'd want him on the roster if the Knicks could have him. He baited OG on that before the inbounds foul late, which was annoying. It's amazing we're sitting here talking about this game that the Knicks won by 5, and yet they had some real critical errors down the stretch between the away from the play foul, which was a free throw, and then the Josh Hart 2 missed free throws, which were just oh my God, Josh, come on, man. Thanks, Mike. Will Oliver, thankful I made the trip down to MSG South. Let's fucking go. Thank you, and thank everybody who made that trip or just showed up to the arena. If they live in Philly, if they live anywhere, thank you. Seriously, this is not hyperbole. This is not me blowing smoke up anybody's butt. I think you made not the difference in the game. I think you made a difference, a significant difference in the game. Truly, I mean that. I think you made a difference in the game. I think the Sixers were maybe a little unnerved. This is supposed to be our building. That shit doesn't happen in New York. Thank you, Will. Okay, here we go. We're doing our playoff scoreboard presented by T Squared Social. Again, thank you so much to T Squared Social for hosting tonight's watch party on 42nd Street, right down the block from Penn Central Station. There we go. Grand Central Station. If you go to T Squared Social, you could get a free draft beer when you tell them KFS sent you. I hope everybody who went today told them KFS sent them. Visit tsquaredsocial.com to learn about club memberships, trivia nights, sports leagues, and much more. I'm going to see if I could talk to Andrew about this. I would love to do an off night, a non-Knicks night, non-Knicks game, maybe a big game 7 this round, next round, something, and just go to T Squared Social because they are such a great sports bar. And it's just a great place to watch a game. Great, watch multiple games. Yes, Andrew.
No, I agree. In fact, my train was running late. Well, I more just had to wait for the next one, and I stayed and watched the end of the Mets game after the Knicks game, which the Mets wanted to walk off. So
let's see.
I love the idea.
Let's see how the rest of the first round turns out. Let's see what goes on round 2. Like I'll make myself available if we could pull that off.
Yeah, I'm thinking after we wrap up the series in 5, you want to watch game 6 or 7 of the Bucks Pacers series.
I
from
fucking
T
hate you so much, and I love you so much because you're such a good friend, and I hate you so much.
Well, since we'll have a couple of days off after Tuesday, By the way, I talked to Daniel before I left tonight, and you would be proud that I went the Macri way and I was like, I'm not going to talk to you about a game 1 watch party. We'll wait till the job is finished. But obviously, if they close, I said if. I promise you, I said if they close it out Tuesday, we'll be in touch after the game to make sure we can start planning a second round watch party.
One step at a time. Thank you, Andrew Claudio.
You're welcome. Carson Wentz.
Get some.
Darren Sproles.
I think I've definitely had him on my fantasy team. Get some.
Pat Burrell.
Baseball player?
Baseball player. Played for the Phillies, used to kill the Mets.
Yes, that's right. Get some.
Shane Victorino.
He's a Philly. Did he? Yeah, I remember.
And played for the Red Sox. The movie Silver Linings Playbook.
Overrated. Get some.
I like that movie, but yes, it can get some.
That's fine. Thank you, T Squared Social. Okay, back to the super chats.
It's just we didn't actually read the scoreboard. We just said thank you, T Squared Social.
Oh shit!
Kevin was waiting. We just said yes. We're gonna do something off night in the future. It was like, oh yeah, we should read.
I've been on here for 3 goddamn hours.
Yeah.
Here's your scoreboard. The Los Angeles Clippers came out in Dallas and went up 31 points. 31 points on the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas without Kawhi Leonard, who probably might have played his last playoff game for all we know, this season at least. They go down at one point to the Mavs, who came all the way back and took the lead in the fourth quarter. I think they took either a 1-point lead or a 2-point lead. I'm checking it right now. It
took a 1-point lead. There was a 1-point lead in the final minute. And then, look, you know me because you've done pods with me for the past 4 years.
Oh, I know where you're going with this. I know where you're going.
A man who needs so much flowers, so many flowers, so much credit, wherever you want to go with that statement. Yep. James Harden, with 33 points on 17 shots, hit some big buckets down the stretch to avoid this collapse. Finishes with 33, 6, and 7. Bravo, sir. Do you want to know something? The Philadelphia 76ers could have used you tonight because they could have used someone with a spine down the stretch.
Listen, did it help that the Clippers shot 62% from 3 to the Mavs 33%? Sure. But you know what? When you're missing a Kawhi Leonard, sometimes you need a little bit of luck. Credit to James Harden and Paul George for going a combined 11 for 15. I'll read that again. 11 for 15 from deep. They combined for 66 points on 36 shots. Those are 2 superstar performances from the second and third best Clippers. So credit to them. And Dallas, man, I know they're 2-2. The way they came out in game 1 and the way they came out in this game, tough look right now for the Mavs.
The rest of the get-sums are sad.
All right,
it's like Kobe Bryant.
We're not doing so. Dead people are we like.
Yeah, they're off limits. Rest in peace, but get some is where I'll go with that.
Except Ben Franklin, apparently.
Nah, Ben Franklin and his bridge can get some. All right, I'll be back.
Okay. What a ridiculous nonsense of a show. Travis Robbins, I see John's truth serum is flowing. Yes or no? Do you want Embiid on this team next year? And what are you drinking? I'll take my answer off air. No, I'm drinking. So I didn't open the Maker's Mark, the regular Maker's Mark with the Knicks logo on it. I'm gonna say that. Drinking. This is courtesy of my good friend Ray Marcano gave me this. It's a Maker's Mark 101. It's incredible. Really, just like my ice melted a long time ago, and I poured myself a couple extra sips. You don't need ice with this stuff. And do I want Embiid on this team next year? No. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to trade if there's the right star trade or whatever. I've come over to the other side. No. Thanks, Travis. Jay Vertical. Nurse's game plan to get Maxey looks off the ball backfired, and so did his plan to let JB get what he wants in pick and roll and to shut out the role players. Deuce will get lost today, but absolutely crucial shots, especially without Boyan. I love this comment. This is a really good, in-depth, like nuanced comment. In terms of the game plan to get Maxey looks off the ball, like I do, again, this is the stuff that you kind of have to go back and rewatch because I don't feel comfortable saying one way or another, but like I wonder how much of the Knicks defense or like what they showed at the start had to do with that adjustment throughout the game. And like, I don't know, man. It just felt like the Knicks defense was better today. And like, Deuce, you credited Deuce here and credit to you for crediting Deuce. Those defenses on Maxey was better today for sure when he was in the game than it was in game 3. And I didn't think it was great in game 3. If I'm being honest, I mean, I went back and I watched all those, but I didn't think it's been great in this series. He did an okay job, but it wasn't great. I thought today was much better. Thanks, Jay Vertical. Good comment. Charlie Boy third. What's going on, Charlie Boy? Hey, John, what a game. What a team. Would you start OG on Embiid next game or go back to iHeart? I kind of like putting OG on him later in the game. You read my mind because I know you sent this super chat before. I said literally this thing verbatim a little while ago. So yeah, I don't have anything to add. You listen, keep it in your holster. You have it. It's not going anywhere. You know, so it's funny. Somebody asked me before the series, I think my buddy Richie asked me before the series, like the advantage of having all these like fouls to use. And I was like, well, I don't really know about that in terms of all these centers. Like you have 18 fouls, right? And I'm like, well, no, because you want Hartenstein out there, you know? So it's like using fouls, like gets him out of the game. And it also puts Embiid on the line. With this kind of adjustment now in their back pocket, I think the notion that like, hey, you leave Hartenstein out there on him. If he gets fouled, it's okay. You have something else to go to. That said, the thing that's giving me pause is I do think that their offense suffers when Hartenstein's not out there. Like really suffered. It suffers. It takes away the floater option. It takes away that kind of DHO hub. It takes away someone who could hit cutters. I know Hartenstein, I think, missed a couple passes on that one tonight, but like, so the point is, I'm with you. Start with Hartenstein. Maybe Hartenstein has Embiid's number. He looks better than he did tonight. You know, it just like it's nice to have options. You know, so there you go. And the rest of your comment. Also feel like this is a perfect matchup for more Precious. Yeah, if you're gonna put OG on Embiid, absolutely. Thanks, Charlie Boy. Flashy. Streets is saying Jokic is the best player in the NBA. Brunson is the most valuable. Jokic is like, man, Jokic is Jokic. Is Jalen Brunson more valuable to his team than Nikola Jokic is to his team? Can we say he's one of the 3 most valuable players to his team? And maybe top 2? I think he's top 2. All right? I think he's top 2. Maybe top 3. Definitely top 3. Maybe top 2. Let's go with that. I like that. Thanks, Flashy. Hush with another one. Brunson has comfortably shut up the 1A combos. I mean, Jesus, like what? He's going against the friggin' he's going against the I don't even know what to compare this to. He's going against a guy who's going to win the MVP, who's out there on the floor. He could do a lot of what he was doing before he got hurt. And another guy who won the Most Improved Player award after finishing top 3 or 4 most improved player last year. And he's going to get a bunch of votes for All NBA. They got 2. We got 1. I know this is a game to celebrate the role players as much as it is to celebrate Jalen Brunson, but my Lord, put that conversation to bed. Thanks, Hush. I-95 Bully, great event today. My kids enjoyed T-Squared. Oh, that makes me so happy that you went there with your kids. That really does. I brought my kids for the Nets game watch party. We had a wonderful time. They had a nice time. Great food. Hopefully you got a chance to do like the duck pin bowling or one of the simulators or something. It's a nice open event or open space too. So, you let the kids run around, whatever. It's a good thing. Thank you, I-95 Bully. Ben Kim Garvey, what's going on, Ben? I know you were there in spirit today. Stay with me, John. Took a long time to go from 10 to 11. Brunson game. So 1A, Candace Parker retired from basketball. 3 down, 13 to go. # storybook season. Yeah. I mean, it's not about whether he's the best point guard since Clyde. It's about whether he's I can't say that. It's getting pretty close to being him and Ewing, It's getting pretty close in the last 50 years. Thank you, Ben. Andrew Belitz. What's going on, Andrew? E-Bitch caught a case of the OG-itis in the 4th. Let's go, Knicks. Let's go, KFS. OG-itis. I like that. That actually kind of rolls off the tongue, the OG-itis. That's pretty good. That's good. Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate that, man. Zach with another one. Phew! This game at 9 a.m., and I'm wiped for the day. Oh, my goodness. So you're in Alaska. So it is still Sunday. So that's good. So you don't have to work today, I hope. I hope you don't have to work today. If you have to work today, you probably called in late for work. I don't have work tomorrow, thank the good Lord. But also thank the good Lord, my wife and older daughter are coming home tomorrow from their trip to Tennessee. So it'll be good to have them back and celebrate with them. But I'll be up pretty late tonight. Thanks, Zach. Super based Neek. One of the best parts of the season has been the presence of Knicks fans on the road. Yes. Hearing MVP chants for Brunson in Philly gave me chills. That's the thing, guys. Charlotte, Washington, trying to think of some of these other places. Charlotte, Washington, the big two. Like those teams, they're losing teams. So Knicks fans buying a bunch of tickets on the secondary market, it's not a big deal. Orlando. And even to a lesser extent, Miami, but Miami's in a different category because their fans are all frauds. There's a bunch of Knicks fans in Florida. I know Philly's only 2 hours away, but this is like a real team with a real fan base. The Sixers. They're a bunch of degenerates, but they're a real team with a real fan base. For the Knicks to be able to infiltrate that arena today like they did, that's next level. That's next level shit. So stuff, excuse me. I agree. If you were there, I'm sure it gave you chills. Thank you, super based Neek. Azu, I forgot my yearly thank you. Cuban for incompetence. Man, someone at some point is going to write the book on the Nova Knicks with Jalen Brunson as the star. And that's going to be a big part of the story. Thanks, Hush. Freeway Hustler 21. Love it whenever execution is the deciding factor between two evenly matched teams and not the whistle. Another contender for comment of the night. I love that the whistle didn't decide this game. I love it. I love it so much. who wanted that game more? That's why we're sitting here talking about the Knicks. And to another point, these are two evenly matched teams. I was thinking about it during the game. I was thinking about it before the game. Look, I know we're all high on the fumes. I know we're thinking Knicks in 5. I hope to God it is Knicks in 5. Oh my God, do I want it to be Knicks in 5? There is a real significant part of me that thinks if these two teams played 100 times, like it would be like 55-45. I think these teams are very evenly matched. And I think and here's the compliment that I'll give to the Knicks. For as tempting as it is to say is that the Sixers have more talent, and if you weigh top-end talent like I do, which is where the top-end talent is worth like so much more than the rest of the rotation, like it's an easy argument to make that the talent is favors Philly. There is no part of me that thinks that the Knicks would not win more games than they lose if they played 100 times in this series because of everything else that we've been talking about, because they're the better team, capital T. And they have the best guy in Jalen Brunson. How you doing? Thanks, Freeway Hustler. Jessica with one more. Would love a blowout Knicks win for Game 5. # basketball gods. Look, I'll take a win by 2. I'll take a win by 42. I don't care what it is. Get the win in your building. Move on. Move on to wherever the hell we're moving on to. I'm looking at the starting lineup for Milwaukee. Like, look, they'll feel the commensurate starting 5. All pressure's on Indianapolis today. So we'll see how this game goes. I tell you one thing. We kind of love Milwaukee to win this. Extend this series a bit. Thanks, Jess. Jason M. What's going on? My man Jason. Team scrappy and physical, but never dirty. FMB. Important distinction. They don't. When have they played? Like they haven't played dirty all year. They haven't played dirty since Tibbs got here. And it is a testament to them that no one has ever accused them of playing dirty, and no one has ever accused anybody on their roster of playing dirty. And yet, if you ask anybody who watches this league, who's the most physical team in the NBA, they will say, without a second hesitation, the New York Knicks. It's as good a compliment as you can give them. Thank you, Jason. David Morgan, thank you for the generosity. OG Precious, Deuce, and Hart put a stranglehold on the Sixers offense. Brunson was out there too. Like, listen, you're about to give Brunson his flowers on offense. Again, the playoff basketball, show me your weakest link. If your weakest link is weak enough, it can take you down. Brunson had to do his part. Let me read the rest of your comment here. Well, Brunson kept them working on the defensive end. Embiid couldn't rest on either end, and Nurse was too scared to take him out. Love these Knicks. Why not now? Well, I don't think there's any universe where he was taking them out, but I hear you. I love these Knicks too. Why not now? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Will Oliver, my God, big pressure showing when we needed it. I might have to go back to some 3 hours ago when someone was like, this is the Precious game. The more and more I think about this game and the more and more I talk about this game, the more I'm like, you know what? It might be the Precious game. He was so important. Unsung hero, symbolic of this team. Anytime you needed someone, every guy on this roster at some point this season has been down. They have been down, and they needed someone else to step in for them. Jalen Brunson went down in the Cleveland game. They got a big win. You know, Dante DiVincenzo has an off-shooting night. Deuce McBride's there to pick you up. You know, Josh Hart not really as usual self, for whatever reason. Well, we got your back. Someone else is going to bring that energy. One of the centers goes down. Here's Precious. OG goes down. Team effort. Julius Randle goes down. Jalen Brunson, highest usage rate in the league. And speaking of highest usage rate, check this right now. For the playoffs, Jalen Brunson, Joel Embiid is first with a usage rate of 37.0. Jalen Brunson is second with a usage rate of 36.3. Playing 42 minutes tonight, 42.1. Third place, a distant third, by the way, Luka Doncic, 43.3. Thanks, Will. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? We have one game left, but can we get 10 seconds for Claudio to laugh at Embiid, Ben Simmonsing his shot? Oh, my God. To make this a game. Ha, 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 ha. I think Claudio may have ducked out, and I can't laugh like him. What a comp. What a comp. That's wild. And that's a great job by you, Anthony. It's a great job making that comp. It's not apples to apples, but like, that's a good comp. It's a good comp. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. Sam Garcia. What's going on, Sam? Embiid in the fourth quarter of the series is 3 for 18. Is that accurate? Is that accurate? 3 for 18? I mean, he's gotten to the line, so it's a little deceiving. I'm pulling it up right now. Embiid playoff totals. Philly. I need to do fourth quarter. Sorry, I'm just on the thing here. I'm not doubting you. I want to see what the free throws are. So, shit, yeah, 3 for 18. 1 of 8 from 3. That says a lot, by the way, that, like, if you look at the percentage of his shots that have been three-pointers in this series, it's been high all series. It's been even higher in the fourth quarter, which is yet another. I mean, he's almost basically half of his shots are from deep in the fourth quarter. It really shows that he's wearing down. Again, 18 fourth quarter field goals in the series. 8 of them have been from deep. He has gotten to the line 22 times in the fourth quarter. He's made 20 of them. So, like, let's take it with a grain of salt. He has averaged nearly 7 points per fourth quarter. So it's not like he's completely disappeared, but, like, to your point, yes, he has worn down significantly. That's a good call, Sam. SKOE. Shout out to the KFS. Anytime. Typical Embiid in past subliminal shots at coaches, throws players under the bus, gets babied by the media. Now it's the fans' fault. LOL. It's not the first time he's been harsh on the fans. Go back and I'm not shouting. I'm not calling you out, but, like, go anybody who wants to go look. There have been times in the past where he's been, at the very least, like, bordering on critical of Philly fans. And, when he said what he said this summer, he could walk back that fucking comment only once. I don't really care. If it's here or wherever, that's what he said. Guy's a fraud. Thanks, SKOE. Greg Film Stuff, thank you so much for the generous contribution. Appreciate you so much, man. This might have been the hardest game of the series. Was this the hardest game of the series? Probably because you were so you're down Mitch, you're down Bogey. You're just asking your guys to play so many minutes. You're not getting any threes. No threes are falling. Like, no threes are falling. And by the fourth quarter, no shots were falling. Yeah. Fred Katz, you're funny. Anyway, this has to kill Philly's confidence going to Game 5. We won without Mitch Rob, Hart struggles, and no Boyan. Props to OG's rebounding and holding Embiid to 27. New York is defying the odds. I don't look. I said it before. I'll say it again. This is Game 5 is going to tell me a lot about Sixers. And look, like they have an excuse. Like they're going to go into the summer. They're going to have all kinds of cap space. They're going to wipe the Tobias contract from their books. They're going to be able to, restock this team. I think, we'll see if the superstar becomes available or not. Probably not. I think they're still going to be able to reshape this roster to a somewhat significant degree. Whether it's making a trade, making a signing, whatever. So, like, they have the choice to just kind of go quietly into the night with their tail between their legs. I don't think they're going to do that, number one. Number two, the Knicks would never. And that is that. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate you as always, man. CKF. What's going on, CKF? Sixers fans? What Sixers fans? Might as well call it Knicks Fargo Center. That's how we invaded. Let's go, Knicks. I'm happy you were there. Thank you for making the trip or for just showing up, whatever you did. I know Sixers fans do exist. Andrew's been making me do the get some, for all these different Philly people. Like either my favorite or my second favorite podcast is hosted by two Philly guys, The Watch. Shout out to Chris Ryan and Andy Greenwald. Happy you're miserable tonight, but they'll survive. But yeah, it didn't matter. Too many Knicks fans, too much Knick energy. Thanks, CKF. Jack Weitzman. This team is all time. Also, shout out AOP NBA. Yes, shout out to our new stats/graphics guy who's been doing some fantastic work for us here at Knicks Film School. Put out a great thread, I think yesterday on the Knicks offensive rebounding. Go seek that out. Wonderful job. And this team is definitely all time. Thanks, Jack. Flashy. Also, Jalen will break his own record of 47 in this playoff run. It felt like am I crazy for saying it felt like he left like 6-8 points out there? That's why people are like, oh, the precious game. And it's, because the mother effer got 47. And you're like, every one of us is sitting there watching this game and be, he can do better. What is happening? That's where we are with this player. That's where we are. Sets a franchise record for most points in a playoff game. And we're like, I think you can do better. Thank you, Flashy. Appreciate the generosity. Chris V. JB's 47-point game, 10-plus assists on 50% shooting in a playoff road game. The last time was Michael Jordan. Thank you for that. I haven't gotten a chance to check Tommy Beer. Tommy Beer is usually very good with all those, best this and that, not since such and such. But yeah, I believe it. If it hasn't happened since Michael Jordan, we know where this dude's headed. Pretty impressive stuff. Thanks, Chris. Bernard Richardson. We are not the players. They'll play like it's 1-3. I completely agree. Us Knicks fans are here to take over buildings and talk our shit up 3-1 and be the New Yorkers that they are. That is fair. That's fair. You know me. You know I can't. I got to take it one day at a time. That's all. Thanks, Bernard. Dom with another one. Say his name, Philadelphia. Say his name. MVP number 11. I tell you, there's going to be some voters that put him not in their top 3, or at least not in their top 4. that are going to feel pretty bad about their decision pretty soon.
The Wells Fargo Center.
Get some.
That's right. Chris Ryan and Andy Greenwald.
No, come on.
They could get some. Great podcast. Love to watch. It's how I catch up on TV. And John loves the show too. Y'all can get some.
Get some.
And hold this L by can't spell Greenwald without an L.
Oh, God. I just saw Danilo Gallinari's haircut. I hope he's planning on dressing up as Travis Bickle for Halloween soon.
Yeah. Great call on that. A cinephile appreciates that. There are a lot of people who have no idea who Travis Bickle is. And I appreciate that reference.
Well, those
John
people
Macri.
should get an education. Oh, go get some.
Get some.
Education.
Ricky Sanchez and his rights.
Get some.
Sam Hinkie.
Ah, man. I wonder what Sam's doing now. I wonder if he watched this game. Get some.
Daryl Morey and his grievances.
Please get all of them.
Hell yeah.
Thanks, Tom. All right, we got some couple coming up from Kevin Danishevsky, my buddy. This team is better with Julius, but I literally love that I never have to worry about anyone missing a rotation. It's actually unreal how good they are on defense. I'm going to save my comment for that until I read your other comments. Can't believe you're still on, by the way. I can't believe this team is what it is right now. I just want to watch them play basketball eternally. I'm so emotional. Let's go to the last one. Also, OG, the perfect add to this team. I love how Precious opened up the ability to put OG on Embiid straight up. In my opinion, top 5 defender in the NBA. Okay, here we go. OG Anunoby, not even a question. He's a top 5 defender in the NBA. I don't think there's much debate about that. Perfect add to this team. Don't think you could have found a better one. Because the whole, now you'd probably want a guy who, wants the ball a little bit more now that Julius has gone down. But in terms of, how let's put it this way. There is no one in the NBA that adds more value to a team that doesn't need the ball to add that value. He adds more value to a team without the ball than anybody in the league. It's that simple. And the fact that he could also have a night like he did tonight where he went, what the hell was his? I'm looking up his final line. He hit 8 2-point field goals. Think about that. He didn't hit a single three. He was 8 of 12 inside the arc, and that's legit. He was a shot creator tonight. Let's just call it like it is. He was a shot creator tonight. You go 8 of 12 inside the arc, unless you're Aaron Gordon getting all your passes from Nikola Jokic, you're a shot creator. So he did the thing tonight. He did the thing that he doesn't maybe feel as comfortable doing, but he did it. The thing that we heard for the past few years, he wants to do more of this thing. He got a chance to do it tonight, and he did it. Perfect dad. As far as this team, loving watching them play, the reason I'll be, if they don't, I can't believe I have to say this, if they don't win the championship, because I have to add that caveat. If they don't win the championship this year, the reason I'll be upset won't be that they didn't win the championship. The reason I'll be upset is because I won't get to watch them anymore. And as far as Julius, I hear what you're saying. I think the payoff is worth it. And you said as much in your comment. What he gives you on offense, but look, I said whenever I was consistent about this. Whenever I was asked if you could get one of them back, Julius or OG, which one would you take? I said OG for a reason, because I thought he raised their floor so significantly. And I thought for a shorter stretch of time, Brunson being able to just take on, again, he's the second highest shooting rate in the playoffs to Joel Embiid. I thought he had it in him, and he does have it in him, apparently. Thanks, Kev. Anthony Strano, what's going on, Anthony? I was mocking the call. One more game to go. Oh, that's it. I'm a little slow on the uptick. I apologize, Anthony. Great job by you. I feel the worst that I ever feel doing this is not when I yell at people. It's when I miss what is probably a very obvious reference. Because we like to foster creativity. That was a very creative super chat by you, Anthony. Armand with another one. M. Night Shyamalan. Get some. Let's fucking go Knicks. I haven't watched the trailer for Trap yet. I know what the trailer is, so it's already been spoiled for me, but I haven't watched it yet. But that looks like a good movie. Thanks, Armin. Kanyan Pepper. What's going on, Kanyan? With the 2 peppers there. Sup with the Twitter handle. Sorry if I missed it. Oh, I just FMB'd. That's all. Done. Bernard Richardson. Embiid's cheap shot was so bad, even Richard Jefferson had to acknowledge it out loud. If I never have to listen to Richard Jefferson call a big Knicks playoff game in my life, it'll be too soon. No offense, Richard. Friend of the pod, Richard Jefferson.
Richard Jefferson.
Go get some. Thank you, Bernard. Dom with another one. Methinks Dante is due for a big one on Tuesday. I think he's just like, this was a fear I had before the playoffs. Would he be as comfortable firing away as consistently as he has been throughout the entire season? I mean, as a team, I wonder if I could put up, I forget where the, as a percentage of their total shot diet. No, I'll just look at it in terms of threes attempted. Oh, no, this is players. Hold on. I'll get it up here. It feels like the Knicks are attempting less threes. I'll just say that. Yeah, 3-point attempts for this series. And keep in mind, the Knicks attempted a fair bit of threes during the regular season. In the playoffs thus far, they are attempting 31.3 threes per game. They're shooting them at a good clip, 37.6%, but they are attempting 31.3 threes per game. In the regular season, they attempted 35.8 threes per game. And the pace of this series has not been that different. So they're not attempting as much, and I feel like a lot of that might be on Dante. Thanks, Tom. Legs official, Josh Hart, that's the post. I love the credit. Only in New York, right? And this is where the Knicks fan base, being the smartest fan base in professional sports, comes into play. Guy goes 0 for 7, scores whatever he scored, 4 points. Everybody knows what he did. Everybody knows how much he meant to this game. Don't need to. I don't need to sit here and be like, y'all need to recognize Josh. No. Everybody knows. Thanks, Legs official. Armin Dutta. Embiid's gonna demand a trade to the Clippers after this series. Man, I'll be interested to see what Embiid does whenever his season ends. You know, I would imagine he's gonna be back. That's my guess. Thanks, Armin. Zach Horowitz with another one. Got that New York Knicks makers shipped to Alaska. When do I open? I don't know. Round 2, maybe, if we get there. Feels appropriate. Round 2 sounds good. Maybe if they win game 7. When? Andrew's saying when in the chat. Got to win one more game. They're not going to I'm telling you, they're not going to give it to us. Got to go out there and win one more. Thank you, Zach. Flashy. Watching John go from loving Embiid since forever to absolutely hating him brings me great joy. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, if you'd asked me 3 years ago, if you'd asked me 3 months ago, if you'd asked me 3 weeks ago, what's one player you want the Knicks to trade for that you think is like feasible, that it might maybe possibly happen? I would have said Embiid. I don't know. I have a thing for tradition in the NBA. I have a thing for like great players at some point tend to break through and win it all. And like great centers, most of them have a chip. This series has completely turned me off. Glad you enjoyed it, Flashy. Next up, Jessica, you're all over the place. You did too much, Jess. Seriously. Can you imagine bitching about another fan base actually showing up? How mentally weak are you when that's what you're talking about post-game? Hashtag not JB. I can't imagine the notion of a Nick being like, oh, yeah, our fans really didn't do the job tonight. Like, come on. Never. These Sixers, some of these players seem to be concerned with a lot of other sorts of nonsense, which again, credit to the front office for getting a particular type of player in here, credit to the players themselves, and of course, credit to the head coach. Their focus is never on anything other than what their focus should be on. And that is not easy to do for a group of professional athletes who all have their own agendas. They all have their own PR teams and all this different stuff. To have a degree of single-mindedness that the Knicks have, and who do they take their cues from? Not Tibbs, not Leon Rose. They take their cues from Jalen Brunson. Thank you, Jessica. David Morgan, my goodness gracious. It's too much today. Thank you, guys. Thank you, David. Macri, can we not insult Will Perdue and Greg Osterjack? Sure, I'm sorry. They would have hit guys in the face and owned it. You know what? You're damn right. You're absolutely freaking right. Those guys wouldn't have hid behind a blessed thing. Good job by you, David. Bad job by me. Embiid is a different kind of dirty. He is like this is going to be good. He is like the girlfriend who is cheating on you and has the nerve to accuse you of cheating. Wow. Or boyfriend. The girlfriend or boyfriend, in fairness. That one hit. That one hit hard. I feel like anyone who's ever been in a relationship, that one hit really hard. Because that's exactly what it is. And you're like looking at this person and you want to like scream from the top of your lungs. You're like, am I insane? Is this really happening? But you can't do that because you're involved in the conversation with this person, just like the Knicks are involved in a game with Joel Embiid. So they can't just be like, what the fuck is happening here? Is everybody got insane? No, because we have to play a game. That's a top 5 all-time callback on this show.
Whoever John is referencing right now. Get some.
It's not even I've had a sordid past. It's not my wife. I'll just say that. Man. Cheers to that. Thank you, David. Appreciate the generosity. Seriously. Thank you. Zach Horowitz with another one. These OGs are precious. It takes an East Village. I like that. That's good. I like that, Zach. I-95 Bully. Love the dedication. I've traveled back to Connecticut, and you guys are still here. One love. Where else would we go? It's not like I have a 3-year-old somewhere in this apartment. And God bless, again, my friend Katie, who has come over to babysit. And hopefully has not just given up yet and gone home. She is a godsend. And thank you to everybody for watching, because apparently we still have a few people watching, so that's even better. But we are finishing off. We're close to the finish line here. Jason M. Shout out to Nurse for playing OG at the 5 on the Raptors. He did do that. That's a good callback. Man, we got a lot of people watching. Holy shit. Thank you, Jason. Sam L. Remember when KFS foreshadowed Brunson joining the Knicks months before it happened? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Shout out KFS, best channel on YouTube. Well, listen, my daughter would disagree. I don't know what the hell the nonsense is that she watches on YouTube, but it's not me. Yeah, I mean, we definitely did our legwork on it months before, like going through all of the, like, I'll say this. We were on it a year before, because I remember there was a Mavs blog. I'm not going to shout him out because I forget who it was, but someone in print was like, "Oh, the Knicks, like the Mavs could just match," and we were like, "Nope, sorry, no, you can't." And I know we were all over the cap stuff, and I know I think the difference is that I'm not going to speak for Jeremy. I was convinced that it was going to be a sign and trade. And I was convinced that the Knicks would not need to clear the cap space and that they would merely need to prove that they could clear the cap space and that Dallas would feel like they were forced into the sign and trade. And as it turned out, maybe because the bad blood ran so deep between the two organizations by that point, the Knicks needed to clear the cap space, but they did. That's all that matters. Thanks, Sam. I appreciate that shout out. Really, we always try to do good work here. Brad Schenker, what's going on, Brad? The fans' influence on the series should not be underestimated. Don't think we win either of the first two games without the insane crowd. Who knows how this one goes if we didn't take over proud. Listen, I'll use this as an opportunity to echo the comment from a little while ago. This series, I'm sorry, I think the series is mostly a toss-up. I know we're up 3-1, and the fact that we have found a way to win these games and the Sixers have found a way not found a way to win these games is a testament to all of the things that we have been lavishing praise on and giving platitudes to for what has now been nearly 4 hours, if not 4 months, for this team. It's a tight series. And you win on the margins in the tight series, and you never know where the margins are going to be. So you have to cover all your bases. And I think the fan thing is absolutely real. I really do. I completely agree with you, Brad. Totally. Jessica with another one. Pronouncing water can get some. Do people from Philly pronounce it water?
Water.
Water?
Water.
Water?
Like you're further and you're dirter.
Worder.
Water.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
What was that Kate Winslet show on HBO? It was like a drama. The Mayor of Easttown.
Mayor of Easttown. It's my favorite show of like the last 5 years, but it could get some.
Okay, just the people in the show. That's all.
That or Andor. One or the other.
Good call.
Dom the dentist. This shit is still going on, apparently. Sorry, Dom. Think we're nearing the end, though. Hayden Freed. John, there ain't no such thing as halfway crook. Now, that reference I get. I love that song.
Does this mean that Embiid went to a private school? What's the matter, dog? You embarrassed? This guy's a gangster. His real name is Clarence.
That's the movie. That's tonight's movie. If I could get done with my newsletter before midnight.
There you go.
Thanks, Hayden. I don't know, man. What? That's a great name. Yeah, Precious looked good versus Maxey. Quick feet. Yeah, he's good switchable center. It's like this is exactly one of the opportunities you want to use him. But again, it's like this is about team building, right? And this is a testament to Leon Rose. Trade for both of the guys. Do I think on the day that they made the OG trade and they figured out, oh, we're going to get Precious back in this trade too, whether they targeted him, whether he was more of an afterthought, whatever. Do I think they had conversations like, man, you know what? If we get in a series with the Sixers, we could put OG on, Embiid, and guess who would be the perfect 5 to have out there if we put OG on Embiid? Like, do I think they had that conversation the day they traded for Precious? Maybe not. But like, they've really assembled this roster beautifully, and the fact that Precious could, slide his feet on Maxey is even better. Thank you, man. Hayden Freed with another one. Just got home after a 3-hour drive from the game, and KFS is still alive. Thanks for the entertaining drive back. Love you, GMAC and John. Shout out to Kev, too. We haven't shouted out Kev at all. It's my bad. Kev has been on the 1s and 2s the whole time here. Right? Is he coming up?
Yeah, he is.
Oh, sugar.
Everybody give a shout out to Kev Words, our associate producer, who's been killing it this entire playoffs. What up, Kev?
Well, it's good, y'all. How you doing?
I like the hat. It matches the shirt.
Always.
True, it seems like it matches the shirt.
Like the shirt. Like the shirt.
I
Why
like
not
it.
now, baby?
Why not now? Incredible
Kev,
game.
any thoughts?
Incredible game, man. Brunson being historic in the playoffs for the franchise. Man, Precious. My man Deuce. Me and my friend were watching and we're going crazy, yelling, jumping, all of it. It's a great year. What a time to be a Knicks fan, right?
It's a special team. Jalen Brunson is a special player. You just actually inspired me to look up. So Jalen Brunson is averaging, I want to say 30. Is he averaging 33.5 points in the series or whereabouts? Does that sound right?
Sure.
Yeah,
in the 30s.
33.
You're the math man.
33 on the dot. Jalen Brunson is averaging. So in the Bernard King's big playoff run. I mean, he had a couple of playoff runs with the Knicks. He had 2 runs to the Eastern Conference semifinals. The first one wasn't as ballyhooed, as it were. In the second playoff run in 1984, when he obviously beat Detroit in 5 games and then lost to Boston in 7, he averaged 42.6 points in the first round and 29.1 points in the second round. That is still the gold standard as far as the Knicks in the playoffs. I will be very curious where Jalen Brunson is at if, whenever this playoff run gets done. Bernard, for the total 2 rounds, 34.8 points per game over 12 playoff games. So that's the yard marker.
Gotta love our superstar. Gotta love our superstar.
pretty
We have
good.
one more super chat remaining, and we may be able to help John with this one.
On the count
Yeah.
love it. All right. We did it.
We did it. We did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe. And the Knicks did it. I want to give a giant, massive thank you to Kevin. Kev, you're awesome tonight. Andrew coming in, letting me pee, and also saying a bunch of people's names that were from from Philly, so I could tell them to
get some.
There you go.
Get some.
That was a good one. That's with attitude. And of course, thank you to everybody watching. If you enjoy what you see, if you appreciate what we do here at Knicks Film School, find a way to support us. Doesn't have to be with money. You could just like the video. You could subscribe to this channel. You could subscribe to my newsletter on Substack. You could listen to the podcast. You could give the podcast a positive review. You could give the podcast a 5-star rating. So many different ways you could help us spread the word and continue to do what we do here and have a long reach. What is it? What's up?
One last thing. Today was #53 wins.
Yes, I know.
There you go.
Shout out to Robert Cross. And of course, most of all, shout out to this team that has us all just beside ourselves. I've been sitting here talking about them for 4 hours, and I could talk about them for 4 more. It's the most special team of my lifetime that I've watched in any sport. They are a true inspiration, and they just make you so happy to be a Knicks fan. And I go back to this sometimes, and it feels appropriate tonight. Life is hard. Sports are supposed to be a distraction. On the best days, there's something more than a distraction. There's something that really gives you a sense of pride and makes you feel one with those that you are rooting for. And for anybody who's ever had to set an alarm too early in the morning that they don't feel like waking up for, or staying up after hours, or in the office, or working doubles, working weekends, being a parent and trying to have a job and all that, like anybody who's ever just kind of reached the end of their limit and was like, I don't feel like I could do it anymore, and you find a way to push through, This team is for you. This is your team. Because that's how they are. That's how they operate. They don't know how to do it any other way. And that's why in a city that seems to attract like flies to or bees to honey, in a city that seems to attract people who say, I'm going to be the one who I'm first in, last to leave, putting in more hours, all that stuff. That's why it's more appropriate that the Knicks are New York's team as opposed to any other city. And so, if you feel a special kinship with this team, you're allowed to. Don't feel silly like they're a bunch of strangers like who you're never going to meet. This is something special going on here with this group, and cherish it. Enjoy it tonight. Enjoy it tomorrow. Enjoy however much longer we got with this team. And we'll be here, of course, to cover it the whole way through. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We will be back with more fun games very soon. Peace out.